Mike says we could be seeing some snow today.
All right, happy Tuesday to you all. Good morning. I'm Gabriella Primus in for Natalie Bumpke. Thanks for joining us.
I'm Anthony Ponce. Let's get straight over to Mike Kaplan to figure out how Tuesday is going to play out here. Mike?
Yes?
No, today?
Yes, a little bit, especially in the afternoon. There have been a few flurries in the area already this morning. Most of us are dry. We'll see a few peaks of sunshine at 9 o'clock, but it's cold, 16 degrees. 20 at noon, becoming cloudier, but still dry. By 4 o'clock, that's when snow's going to start to move in from the northwest. It will be light, but with temperatures that cold, any snow is going to have no problem sticking again. It's 11 at O'Hare, partly cloudy. We have a west wind at 8, so that's producing a wind chill of 1 below 0. Other current temperatures, for the most part, are barely in the double digits. We got 11 at Chicago Heights and Merrillville, 9, though, at Aurora and Woodstock. Our highest temperatures today are going to happen at night. But I have a day in the 40s. I'll show you when, coming up. Right now, Gabriella Primus is going to bring us an update on the commute this morning.
Mike, you see that one crash icon there? It's over on the southbound side of Sheridan Road at Juneway Terrace, which is a fairly busy intersection over there near the lakefront. It's a reported crash. Crews are already responding. And then a stalled Bach truck in the right shoulder and right lane on southbound Tri-State at near Atkinson Road, I'm going to say. Again, right shoulder and right lane is blocked in that case. Other than that, your drive times are looking okay. Really nothing to worry about. I will mention on Milwaukee District North, there is a train that's scheduled to depart Fox Lake. It's delayed departure due to mechanical problems going on. The duration of the delay is kind of unknown, but I'll put a note out to Metro to see if they can update us. Anthony, I'll send it to you for now.
Okay, thank you, Gabby. Appreciate it. As we count down to the new year, Chicago going to be in the spotlight this year, the national spotlight. Roseanne Tejas is live downtown with the event that draws one of the year's largest crowds. Roseanne.
Well, Anthony, some of this year's festivities will be broadcast nationally, and that has officials even more determined to put the city's best foot forward. Huge crowds are expected here along the lakefront on New Year's Eve to gather for free events, and that starts at 5 p.m. There's a special projection on the Merchandise Mart planned for 7 and performances beginning at 9 o'clock on the main stage. Fireworks will light up the river both near the Art on the Mart and over by Navy Pier. And officials plan to enforce a strict 10 p.m. curfew for anyone under 18, not with an adult. That after a 14-year-old was killed and 8 others hurt during a teen takeover near Millennium Park tree lighting this year. Police Superintendent Larry Snelling says disruptive behavior this year will not be tolerated.
First of all, we're going to be highly visible throughout the entirety of the city. We're going to make sure that we have sufficient manpower. We've already made provisions for that. This manpower will not just be in the downtown area.
Now, the CTA offers free rides on trains and buses starting at 10 p.m. on New Year's Eve. And we do want to let everybody know all of the bridges close about 11:30 in advance of that synchronized fireworks show. And the bridges are shut down for about an hour. And a final note, Franklin is already shut down in anticipation of all of the activities. So Franklin between Lake and Wack are off limits already this morning. From the riverfront, Roseanne Tejas, Fox 32, Chicago.
All right, Roseanne, thank you. That's very good information. Now, this is a story we promised we'd update you on. A man is facing multiple charges in a crash that left 2 Chicago police officers injured. 18-year-old Orlando Matos III is charged with 2 counts of felony aggravated reckless driving. The officers were heading south on Racine in Wrigleyville when they say his car ran a stop sign. They also say the car was stolen. St. Sabina is making some changes after a shooting outside the church over the weekend.
And Brian Jackson here in studio with the latest on what happened here. Brian.
Well, St. Sabina is canceling an adult basketball league after 3 men were shot outside the church. It happened just after 4 p.m. Sunday at 78th and Racine. And because of this shooting, St. Sabina is now implementing new security changes at sporting events going forward, including pat-downs and bag checks. Father Michael Flager told Fox Chicago that it started with an argument inside the gym. He said that the organizers thought that the issue had been resolved, but when everyone was outside, someone shot into a group of people. He also said that there is now surveillance video of the shooting and is now in the hands of Chicago police.
I'm one of those people that believe when people do things, particularly when it comes to shootings, there has to be consequences. Otherwise, nothing changes.
This is now the second shooting outside of St. Sabina this year. You may remember multiple people got shot following a graduation party in that same area. Right now, Chicago police are still looking for the suspect in Sunday's shooting. Anthony?
Okay, Brian, thank you very much. The Chicago Board of Education has voted in favor of raising property taxes for Chicagoans following a secret meeting that's raising some major questions this morning. Board members voted 15-5 to increase property taxes by $25 million. That is the max that is allowed under Illinois state law. The school district is hoping this, along with a record amount of TIF surplus money, will help balance its budget. Carlos Rivas, who was one of the 5 no votes, says this comes at a time when Chicago families are reeling from high costs.
This is something that, even if it is $16 on my home, it is something that lots of families can't afford, and it just adds to the compounding effect of the large increases in their taxes.
Fox Chicago has also learned school board president Sean Harden has vowed to force the resignation of any board member who leaked information about that meeting.
A luxury retail store in Barrington is missing nearly all of its inventory after it was burglarized. This is Restyle Designers Barrington on South Cook Street. You could see a group of people breaking into the store early Sunday morning and grabbing everything off the shelves. No one has been arrested and none of the stolen items have been recovered.
A former counselor at Hartgrove Hospital in Chicago is charged with sexually abusing patients and is pleading not guilty. Edmund Rivers is accused of abusing 5 boys between the ages of 7 and 14. Those victims came forward after a lawsuit last year accused several staff members of abusing more than 100 minors. Rivers is due back in court next month.
The National Weather Service is confirming 3 tornadoes hit central Illinois during Sunday's severe weather outbreak. An EF2 tornado impacted 3 counties, Christian, Macon, and Piatt. The tornado traveled nearly 24 miles. An EF1 touchdown in Tazewell County, about 3 miles east of Pekin, and an EF0 touchdown just southeast of Redmond. No injuries were reported.
A Chicago family is demanding answers. They say that ICE is ignoring a judge's order and keeping 2 men locked up. According to the family, on November 5th, ICE detained 29-year-old Yori Andres Lopez Jimenez and 33-year-old Edwin Adrian Mendoza during a routine check-in. Family says neither of them were trying to evade authorities. Instead, both were transferred to a detention facility in Missouri. The family says weeks later, an immigration judge ordered voluntary departure for them, but both men are still in ICE custody. Under federal law, ICE is required to carry out a judge's final order unless there is an appeal or an official stay in place.
It's complicated because they're supposed to follow due process. If there is a higher court order, they should comply with it. This leaves us in limbo regarding our rights. We know we're immigrants and that we're in a country that is not ours. We're not demanding anything that isn't feasible. We're simply asking that due process be respected and that the court order be followed.
The family is now also considering legal options if ICE continues to delay compliance.
6:08, you know, Anthony, I was telling Mike earlier this morning that I'm so surprised we got less than an inch yesterday because it felt like we saw snowfall forever. It was never ending.
21 hours in a row, snow was reported on the hour at O'Hare. So Gabby's right. It snowed pretty much like all day long lightly. You talked about those tornadoes downstate. There were actually 5 confirmed tornadoes in Iroquois and Livingston County, not that far south of Chicago, near Clifton, Martinton, and Pontiac also. So there were 5 weak tornadoes there, did some damage, but fortunately no report of any injuries. We have gone from those spring-like storms to wintry stuff in a hurry, haven't we? All right, let's talk temperatures here first of all. And most of us are barely in the double digits. We've got 12 at Midway, 12 at Joliet and Waukegan, but a few spots are in the single digits. We've got 9 at Woodstock, Aurora, and Morris, 8 at DeKalb and Rockford. Northwest Indiana, Michigan City leading the pack there with 19, but it's only 11 degrees in Merrillville. Nowhere near as windy as yesterday, but we are seeing some winds kind of in that 5 to 15 mile per hour range. Waukegan, a kind of odd location out there with a 21 mile an hour wind, but these winds are strong enough to be producing wind chills in many cases below 0. Feels like 2 below at Waukegan, 7 below at Aurora, and we have a -1 at O'Hare, Midway, 3 below. The wind chill at Valparaiso, heavy coat, hat and gloves kind of a day. There have been some flurries this morning around Midway, even though the snow ended at O'Hare. But take a look here, upper left part of your screen. That is little Alberta Clipper. It's going to sneak in here for a few hours worth of light snow late this afternoon into early evening, which timing-wise might impact the afternoon commute. Nobody's getting much snow out of this. I'm looking for 1 inch or less, and it'll be gone here overnight. Tomorrow we'll start out dry, and then we await another system that could bring us some light snow tomorrow afternoon or evening, when a lot of us might be heading out for that New Year's Eve scenario. There you see maybe the best chance of getting 1 inch of snow tomorrow ends up being south and southwest of the city, but it'll be out of here by midnight as we ring in 2026. Becky?
Alrighty. Thank you, Mike. Security will be increased in New Orleans ahead of some big events with help from the National Guard. We'll have all that when we come back. A man is facing multiple charges in a crash that left 2 Chicago police officers injured.
18-year-old Orlando Matos III is charged with 2 counts of felony aggravated reckless driving. The officers were heading southbound on Racine in Wrigleyville when they say his car blew right through a stop sign.
The Chicago Board of Education votes in favor of raising property taxes for Chicagoans. Board members voted 15-5 to increase property taxes by $25 million. The school district is hoping this and a record amount of TIF surplus money will help balance its budget.
The National Weather Service is confirming 3 tornadoes did hit central Illinois during Sunday's severe weather outbreak. Mike says there were 5 more in 2 other counties. All of these led to damage to homes, knocked down trees. Fortunately, no injuries were reported.
The second pilot in Sunday's midair helicopter collision in New Jersey has died. The helicopters collided shortly after takeoff. The 2 pilots have been identified as 71-year-old Michael Greenberg and 65-year-old Kenneth Kirsch. Investigators say the 2 pilots were friends and often ate together at a local cafe, including on the day of the crash.
Transcripts from a closed-door hearing for the man accused of killing conservative activist Charlie Kirk have been released. Tyler Robinson appeared virtually from his Utah County jail cell. The October hearing focused on whether he should be shackled in court, with defense attorneys saying he posed no threat. His lawyers also asked to ban cameras prompting media groups to push back on that. The judge released the transcripts calling transparency foundational. He has also ordered notice to the press before any future hearings are closed.
New Orleans will see a heavy security presence 1 year after the deadly attack on Bourbon Street. Last New Year's Day, 14 people were killed in a terror attack when a 42-year-old man drove a rented pickup truck around roadblocks and right through a crowd. The stepped-up security will include National Guard troops deployed to the city by the Trump administration. The mayor and other city officials say they welcome the Guard patrols.
It appears that we're going to have close to 800 law enforcement downtown and in the French Quarter, and I think that that's going to be outstanding. You're going to see an incredible visual presence in the French Quarter and throughout downtown over the rest of this week.
The National Guard will be in the city through Mardi Gras on Tuesday, February 17th.
All right, 6:15. Let's send things back over to Mike Kaplan. With news about a snowfall, perhaps, in our near future. You say there's going to be a pair of snowfall?
Not one, but
two.
Oh,
Two.
no.
Oh, my word.
Wow.
Double trouble.
Did you get a haircut, Mr.
I did.
And he's looking good.
Looking very
Nice and fresh.
sharp. Looking very.
Yeah, look at
Not that
that.
you don't owe it. Look. And yesterday,
Suave.
we were all marveling when you were threatening to take your shirt off.
Oh yeah, no, it was not a threat. It actually
It did
happened.
happen. I
but it was
witnessed it.
admit though, Gabby, it was a very non-gratuitous.
There was record viewership on Chicago Now, by the way.
That explains why. All right.
There's a spike in the ratings.
You might see it again at 10 and 11 today, folks.
Oh my gosh! All right, guys. Definitely not a day to have on just no shirt to be outside.
Yeah,
it is
on,
cold out
Antho.
there, and we have, as Anthony, we were just talking, 2 snows on the way. Neither of them is going to be a big deal in terms of overall accumulation. This is what our computer model is showing for snowfall with the system that's coming in here late today, and another one tomorrow afternoon. And you're not going to see any big numbers. It's kind of a general coating to maybe an inch total. I wouldn't be surprised if a couple of these numbers get a little bit higher. I think we could see maybe an inch and a half total in some spots between the 2 storms that are coming through here. Today, most of the day is dry, 25. The high won't happen until tonight. We'll have an increase in cloud cover, light snow late, probably not starting until about 4 o'clock, coming in from the northwest. So if you're in McHenry, you're going to get to the snow sooner than if you're in Mokina. 25, you're going to see how I do like alliterative there? McHenry, Mokina. 25 tonight for the low with rising temperatures, 1 inch of snow or less, with the snow ending probably around 9 o'clock or so. Tomorrow, New Year's Eve, a high of 28, and a little bit of light snow coming in the afternoon, an inch or less. Cold day for Jan 1, and then we step up a little bit each day so that by the time the Bears are playing Sunday afternoon against the Lions, it's 36, and I think we can see a 40-degree temperature here next Monday as temperatures moderate, a little bit of a January thaw on the way. All right, let's check in with Sky Fox and Gabriella to see how our commute's shaping up.
Mike, you know, this is a look at the Kennedy Expressway. We're going inbound with traffic. We're closer to Kimball right now, and outbound traffic's looking okay, too, if you are going to O'Hare, maybe out for a New Year's Eve, New Year's Day celebration. I do have one crash to report. It's eastbound on I-90, so on the Jane Addams at Sleepy Hollow Road. A left lane is blocked. There's 3 total lanes there, but a little bit of stop and go as you approach that. Our traffic sign up top there is covering it. Also, Milwaukee District North, if you are taking Metro this morning, there was an earlier train that was stopped or delayed due to mechanical problems. Well, now another train is running behind because of it. It was one that's scheduled to come in at 7:13. It's making all stops from Fox Lake to Chicago. Again, mechanical problems on train 2104 were to blame.
All right, thank you, Gabby. The U.S. is stepping up pressure on Venezuela's Nicolas Maduro as President Trump announces what he calls a major turning point in the fight against narco-terrorism.
Yeah, Madeline Rivera has more on this from Washington.
The U.S. has conducted most of its operation in international waters, from targeting boats that they say are carrying drugs to seizing oil tankers. But it appears the U.S. has carried out the first known land strike in Venezuela. The president giving more details about something he first mentioned last week in a radio interview, saying they hit a facility where ships come from.
There was a major explosion in the dock area where they load the boats up with drugs. They load the boats up with drugs, so we hit all the boats, and now we hit the area. It's the implementation area. That's where they implement, and that is no longer around.
The president did not say whether the strike was conducted by the military or the CIA. The Pentagon referred our questions to the White House. Meantime, the president is also continuing his tough talk against Hamas, one of the issues he and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu covered in their meeting yesterday.
We talked about Hamas and we talked about disarmament, and they're going to be given a very short period of time to disarm, and we'll see how that works out. Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner will be in charge of that from our side. But if they don't disarm, as they agreed to do, they agreed to it, and then they'll be held to pay.
President Trump is also not ruling out more military action against Iran. Netanyahu is reportedly concerned Iran may be ramping up production of its ballistic missile program.
We know exactly where they're going, what they're doing, and I hope they're not doing it because we don't want to waste the fuel on a B-2. It's a 37-hour trip both ways.
All right, Madeline Rivera now joins us live. Madeline, I know that your packages are covered a lot, but what are critics saying about the legality of these strikes on Venezuelan boats and or land?
Well, there's a lot of criticism on both sides here, a lot more from Democrats who are questioning whether the Trump administration has the legality to carry out these operations. Notably, I think of Kentucky Senator Rand Paul, who has criticized the actions that the U.S. has been taking, saying that it's bringing us closer to war against Venezuela. But the Trump administration maintains that they are on solid legal ground, saying that they are in armed conflict with drug cartels. Gabriella.
What on the Iran issue, Madeline? Before we let you go there, has the president said anything about this? I know Iran has had some characterization of them being at war with the U.S. at this point.
Yeah, Iran's president, Masoud Pezeshkian, said over the weekend through Iranian state media that his country is in a full-fledged war against the U.S., Israel, and Europe. And he's talking about it more, saying that their country is being besieged at all sides, talking about how they are being attacked both in the security-wise, also economically, saying that they're being hit really from all different angles. And so that's what he's talking about. So Iran's president says that if Israel takes any sort of action, or if the U.S. does, that they will be responding with a decisive force. President Trump, rather, for now has been sticking to this strong language. You know, you heard him obviously in the package saying there that if Iran does ramp up production of its ballistic missile program, that the U.S. won't hesitate to take more action, whether that's backing Israel or so, if they carry out more strikes against Iran. It is a different tone than what the president said earlier this year, where he maintained time and time again that the ballistic missile program, those 3 Iranian nuclear facilities that they struck in June, he said that they were completely obliterated. And now they say if Iran is rebuilding those assets again, that they'll act once again, that the U.S. will act again.
All right, Madeline, thank you for the update there. Appreciate it. 622 back here in Chicago. Investigators in Cook County bust a massive theft involving hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of protein powder.
Oh,
we'll tell you that
this is a crazy story.
And next, yeah.
Ashley's New Year's.
Welcome back, 624. It's another cold start to the day, and Mike says we will have not one, but 2 little snowfalls before year's end. We'll check back in with him in just a second. It does look nice.
Nice and winter-like.
Yeah.
All right, an unusual bust by the Cook County Sheriff's Office.
Investigators uncovered more than 25,000 pounds of stolen whey protein powder in a warehouse. This is down in Bridgeview after a cargo theft investigation. Now, this powder you're looking at here is valued at more than $500,000 in total. The investigation started earlier this month when a supply chain company contacted them to report that a large shipment of Seek protein powder was missing.
So the bad guy in the middle of this, he clones your order, and he clones the shipping order, the bill of lading, and he takes the order in the process. And now he sends the order that he cloned to the driver. The driver has no clue. So now your order, instead of going to you, it's going to another location. And in the midst of that location, the bad guy sells your order into the warehouse that we recovered the coffee from in Melrose Park. So you never receive your order.
The retail crime unit is continuing to gather information to build the theft case.
The Department of Health and Human Services plans to revamp the entire childhood vaccine schedule in the new year. They say that will result in fewer shots. The exact changes have not been announced yet. The Advisory Committee on Childhood Vaccines met yesterday. During that meeting, CDC officials emphasized the importance of immunizations for children.
Last basically 30-year period from 1994 to 2023, which CDC estimated that vaccination of children born during that time prevented more than 500 million illnesses, avoided more than 1 million deaths.
The final announcement on the new vaccine schedule is expected in the new year. More musicians have pulled out of performing at the renamed John F. Kennedy Center for the Performing Arts. The Arts Center was rebranded this month after President Trump added his name to the building. A previously promoted Christmas Eve jazz concert by musician Chuck Red was canceled over the name change. The Cookers, a jazz band scheduled for New Year's Eve, did not specifically cite the name change, but a statement suggested politics were involved. Christy Lee, who was scheduled for January 14th, also canceled over the rebrand.
A World War II veteran is going viral for his stellar performance of the national anthem during a New York Islanders game. Dominic Critelli is 104 years old, but his age did not stop him from pulling at the crowd's heartstrings as he broke out the saxophone. Wow, he sounds great, and the crowd broke into USA chants after Critelli's rendition of the Star-Spangled Banner. He spent over 150 days in combat during World War II. He also earned a music degree from NYU and became a jazz saxophonist. Wow. How impressive is that?
Only 15 seconds and I have chills. Oh,
he's got
so nice.
Oh, the whole thing is on, look on Instagram or YouTube. I think it's on there now. The entire performance. I've seen this and it's like, you got to be 104. He holds that last note for like ever.
You need lungs to do that.
Fantastic.
You need
good for him. And by the way, the Islanders play the Blackhawks tonight. But I do not believe that he is going to be performing the national anthem for that one. But good for him.
Yes.
The other thing I want to mention, I'm blown away by the fact that somebody's stealing protein powder. And then we have a bunch of lobster stolen last week. Wasn't that one of ours?
Yes.
Yeah.
What is with these?
Maybe you and your inside circle only know about that, Mike.
I'm confused. But I am opening up protein powder and lobster.
There's a lot of protein on there.
That's right. All protein all the time. 2 snows, both of them light, on the way. I'll tell you when to expect them and look ahead to the weekend forecast when we come back.
So you only check it.
Welcome back to Good Day Chicago here at 6:31 on your Tuesday morning. We appreciate you being here.
Yeah, and thank you for joining us. I'm Gabriella Primus. I'm in for Natalie. Here are some of the top stories we're following this morning. How Chicago is preparing for safe celebrations on New Year's Eve.
And a man is facing multiple charges after crashing into a CPD squad car and injuring officers.
Property taxes are going up after all. Details on a vote by the Chicago Board of Education.
We'll get to those stories in a moment, but first, we got to check in with Mike Kaplan and find out more about these little snowfalls we got to contend with.
Yesterday, it seemed like it just was snowing all the time.
Yeah.
Mrs. C and I went out for dinner last night, and it was snowing, and I could see the moon perfectly clearly through the sky. Like, what is going on here? But it didn't take much to get a few flurries out of that sky yesterday. We've even seen a few overnight into this morning. Midway's had some flurries. Right now at O'Hare, we just have partly cloudy skies and a temperature of 11. West wind at 8 miles per hour. We've done away with those 40 and 50 mile an hour winds, but we still have a wind chill of 1 below zero, so this is a grab that heavy coat kind of a day. Now, here's the deal. As we get ready to ring in 2026, today, 25. That high happens at night, and that's when some snow will be ending. I think between roughly 4 and 9 p.m., we'll have some snow showers in the area, inch or less. Tomorrow, some additional light snow in the afternoon with a high temperature of 28 degrees. That should be ending during the evening hours. And then for day one of 2026, partly sunny skies, but quite cold with a high temperature of 22 degrees. Weather's good enough that we have Sky Fox flying. Gabriella, what are we looking at here?
Yes, we do, Mike. And actually, we're going southbound on Cicero Avenue with some traffic. We're just going to go over to I-55, check out some things, although they might double back and go over to the inbound side of the Kennedy near Cumberland and just give us a really far shot because we can't get into O'Hare's airspace, obviously, because crews are handling a car fire that's in the right lane. Again, inbound Kennedy near Cumberland. I'm seeing a little stop-and-go traffic as we start getting a little heavier with our traffic volume here. Let me show you, and there's that traffic icon there, but I want to show you some of the drive times. 30 minutes right now on the Kennedy from O'Hare to downtown, 25 minutes on the Eisenhower, also on the Stevenson, and 20 minutes on the Dan Ryan from 95th to the Byrne interchange.
As we count down to the new year, Chicago will be in the national spotlight this year.
Roseanne is live downtown with an event that draws one of the city's largest crowds. Good morning, Roseanne.
Yes, it does. And with so many eyes on Chicago this year, the mayor is asking that everyone represent the city proudly. But local and now federal law enforcement are asking everyone to do it safely, too. There are huge crowds expected here along the riverfront, and they are gathering for free events that start at 5 p.m. One highlight, the special projection on the Merchandise Mart. That actually starts at 7. Performances by Chance the Rapper, Shamika Copeland, DJ Mike Dunn, and others start at 9 on the main stage. Fireworks will light up the river both near the Art on the Mart and Navy Pier, and officials plan to enforce a strict 10 p.m. curfew for anyone under 18 not accompanied by an adult. This after a 14-year-old was killed and 8 other teens injured during a teen takeover during the Millennium Park tree lighting this year. Now, since Chicago will be part of that national broadcast, law enforcement's getting a boost from the U.S. Secret Service.
Has been designated as worthy to get federal support, and because of that, we are here to help coordinate federal assets to support and cooperate with the CPD and all the other city officials.
Now, heads up, Franklin between Lake and Wacker is already shut down this morning. Also, we want to remind everybody that the CTA does offer free rides on buses and trains that will start on New Year's Eve at 10 p.m., which is a great option if maybe you celebrate a little too much. Reporting from along the river this morning, Roseanne Tejas, Fox 32, Chicago.
Good advice. Thank you so much, Roseanne. All right, 6:35 now, a story we brought you yesterday. A man is facing multiple charges after a crash left 2 Chicago police officers injured. 18-year-old Orlando Matos III is charged with 2 counts of felony aggravated reckless driving. The officers were heading south on Racine in Wrigleyville when the car ran a stop sign. The car was also stolen. St. Sabina is making some changes after a shooting outside the church over the weekend.
Brian Jackson is here in studio with the very latest on what happened. Brian?
St. Sabina is now canceling an adult basketball league after 3 men were shot outside of the church. It all happened just after 4 p.m. on Sunday at 78th and Racine. Because of the shooting, St. Sabina is now implementing new security changes at all sporting events, including both pat-downs and bag checks. Father Michael Flager told Fox Chicago that it all started as an argument inside of the gym. He said the organizers thought that the issue was resolved, but when everyone started leaving the gym, someone shot into a group of people. He also said that there's surveillance video of the shooting, and it's now in the hands of Chicago police.
I'm one of those people that believe when people do things, particularly when it comes to shootings, there has to be consequences. Otherwise, nothing changes.
This is the second shooting outside of St. Sabina this year. You may remember multiple people got shot after a graduation party in that same area. Right now, Chicago police is still looking for the suspects in Sunday's shooting. Anthony?
Okay, Brian, thank you for the update there. The Chicago Board of Education has voted in favor of raising property taxes for Chicagoans after a closed-doors meeting that is raising some major questions. Board members voted 15-5 to increase property taxes by $25 million. That is the max that is allowed under Illinois state law. The school district is hoping this, along with a record amount of TIF surplus money, will help balance its budget. Carlos Rivas, one of the 5 no votes, says it comes at a time that Chicago families are reeling from high costs.
This is something that, even if it is $16 on my home, it is something that lots of families can't afford, and it just adds to the compounding effect of the large increases in their taxes.
Fox Chicago has also learned school board president Sean Harden vowed to force the resignation of any board member who leaked information about the meeting.
A luxury retail store in Barrington is missing nearly all of its inventory after it was burglarized. This is Restyle Designers Barrington on South Cook Street. You can see a group of people breaking into the store early Sunday morning and grabbing everything off the shelves. No one has been arrested and none of the stolen items have been recovered.
A former counselor at Hartgrove Hospital in Chicago, charged with sexually abusing patients, is pleading not guilty. Edmund Rivers is accused of abusing 5 boys between the ages of 7 and 14 years old. Those victims came forward after a lawsuit last year accused several staff members of abusing more than 100 minors. Rivers is due back in court next month.
President Trump is ramping up pressure on Venezuela, going from attacking drug boats to striking the shoreline. The president says his administration recently destroyed a dock area where he claims boats were being loaded up with drugs. He's not confirming the exact location. This comes as the U.S. military says it attacked a boat accused of smuggling drugs in the eastern Pacific Ocean yesterday, killing 2 people on board.
President Trump also met with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to talk about the next stages of the ceasefire in Gaza. Trump issued a warning against Hamas if the group refuses to disarm. He also had a message for Iran after Israeli officials said that they may be rebuilding their missile program.
Iran is trying to build up again, and if they are, we're going to have to knock them down.
Monday's meeting comes just one day after the president also met with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky.
Well, guys, I was driving around yesterday and I saw that some Christmas decorations were sprawled across the lawn. So I think some people, the wind, Mother Nature helped them take down those Christmas decorations, perhaps.
Right.
I did see one person just putting them away in a big tin. So
I saw a lot of garbage cans just
flipped over.
It was so brutal.
Well, the winds yesterday, at times they were 50 miles per hour. They died down late in the morning, and now it's not quite as windy, thank goodness, but it's still cold, and we have more snow on the way. Not a lot, but more. So we have 2 more snows to close out the 2025 year, and we're going to end up with a snowier than normal December. That is assured. Temperatures right now amid partly cloudy skies, mainly low double digits, but a few spots are in the single digits. 9, Woodstock, Aurora, Morris, kind of the Fox Valley there. We've got 12 at Joliet and Midway, and also Gary and Merrillville. Benton Harbor, with a wind coming in off of Lake Michigan. Your temperature is just a little bit less cold with a reading of 22 degrees there at BEH Airport. So any sunshine that we enjoy early on is going to yield to increasing cloud cover and eventually a little bit of snow. Our model and most models are bringing some of the snow in late afternoon, early evening. Now, I wouldn't be surprised. Our model's kind of confining this at 4:30 to the Cheddar Curtain counties, and it doesn't reach the city here until about 6, 7 o'clock. Might get in a little bit sooner. That's why I'm going to caution you for the evening commute. But this is a quick hit out of here by 9, 10 o'clock, and in its wake, maybe a coating to an inch of snow anywhere. It's a light snow. During the day tomorrow, another clipper is coming in. This one might fade favor areas from the city point southwest for a coating to an inch of snow, but it will be out of here in time for most of us to get where we need to go during the evening to revel in the new year. I'll share with you the forecast for the rest of the year and the first few days of 26. But right now, over to you, Anthony.
Thank you, Mike. Appreciate it, sir. We got plenty more to get to here on Good Day Chicago. More accusations against filmmaker Tyler Perry this morning, what his team is saying. And the Department of Health and Human Services plans to revamp the childhood vaccine schedule in 2026. We'll talk about that, the changes on the way. And Beyonce reaches an exclusive milestone for musicians. All right, before we go to break, here is your official invite to kick off 2026 the right way with Fox 32. Join Anita Blanton and Jake Hamilton. They're going to be live from Tao Chicago nightclub as we celebrate New Year's from Times Square to Texas. Performances by Bun B, Cupid, Cleo Fox, and more. Fox Local New Year's Eve live. The fiesta starts at 10 p.m. on Fox 32 and Fox Local Chicago. We will be right back.
Stream Good Day Chicago.
Welcome back. A man is facing multiple charges in a crash that left 2 Chicago police officers injured.
18-year-old Orlando Matos III is charged with 2 counts of felony aggravated reckless driving. Those officers were headed southbound on Racine in Wrigleyville, right near Wrigley Field, when they say that Matos blew through a stop sign at that intersection.
The Chicago Board of Education votes in favor of raising property taxes for Chicagoans. Board members voted 15-5 to increase property taxes by $25 million. The school district is hoping this and a record amount of TIF surplus money will help balance its budget. The second pilot in Sunday's midair helicopter collision in New Jersey has died. The helicopters collided shortly after takeoff. The 2 pilots have been identified as 71-year-old Michael Greenberg and 65-year-old Kenneth Kirsch. Investigators say the 2 pilots were friends and often ate together at a local cafe, including on the day of the crash.
Transcripts from a closed-door hearing for the man accused of killing conservative activist Charlie Kirk have been released. Tyler Robinson appeared virtually from his county jail cell in Utah County. The October hearing focused on whether he should be shackled while in court, with defense attorneys saying he posed no threat. His lawyers also asked to ban cameras in the courtroom, prompting media groups to push back. The judge released the transcripts, calling transparency foundational, and ordered the press be notified before any future hearings.
New Orleans will see a heavy security presence 1 year after the deadly attack on Bourbon Street. Last New Year's Day, 14 people were killed in a terror attack when a 42-year-old man drove a rented pickup truck around roadblocks and right through a crowd. The stepped-up security will include National Guard troops deployed to the city by the Trump administration. The mayor and other city officials say they welcome the Guard patrols.
It appears that we're going to have close to 800 law enforcement downtown in the French Quarter, and I think that that's going to be outstanding. You're going to see an incredible visual presence in the French Quarter and throughout downtown over the rest of this week.
The National Guard will be in the city through Mardi Gras on Tuesday, February 17th.
TMZ is reporting that singer David is likely to face murder charges in the death of Celeste Rivas Hernandez. The grand jury hearing the case is expected to decide on an indictment, and prosecutors believe that David was involved in the teenager's death. TMZ is reporting the grand jury could continue hearing testimony all the way into February. The background here: Celeste Rivas' body was discovered in a Tesla that was at a tow yard over 3 months ago. The car was registered to David. A second actor who worked on a Tyler Perry movie is suing the filmmaker, accusing him of sexual assault. Mario Rodriguez is seeking $77 million in damages. He claims that Perry used his power to make sexual advances toward him multiple times between 2016 and 2019. Rodriguez is also suing Lionsgate for allegedly turning a blind eye here. A similar lawsuit was filed in June. Tyler Perry's team says this is a, quote, money grab.
The Department of Homeland Security is ramping up an investigation into child care and other fraud allegations in the state of Minnesota. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem shared video of federal agents on the ground in Minneapolis going door to door. They are investigating businesses suspected of swindling millions in state taxpayer dollars. The issue gained national attention after a YouTuber claimed to uncover millions of dollars in fraud at 10 Minneapolis child care centers. Governor Tim Walz's office is defending his handling of the scandal, telling Fox News, quote, "The governor has worked for years to crack down on fraud and asked the state legislator for more authority to take aggressive action. He has strengthened oversight," end quote.
All right, 6:49. Time to check back in with Mike Kaplan. Mike, it's Tuesday, it's cold, and I personally could do without the snow for the rest of 2025, but I understand.
Mike, what's with that?
Yeah.
Come on.
You guys, it's winter. It's supposed to snow. I get that written in my Facebook.
It was supposed to snow on Christmas.
I know, and we didn't have it. Timing is off, but look, we have 2 more snows to get through this year, and then there will be no additional snow this year. What do you think about that? It's only because there are 2 more days left in the year after today. All right, so here is the deal. Today, it could flurry at almost any time. We've actually seen a couple of flurries flying in parts of Chicagoland this morning. But the main system that's going to bring some snow to most of Chicagoland late this afternoon and this evening, that's what you see there. It's only going to produce maybe 5 hours of snow at any given location, and it doesn't have a lot of moisture to work with, so the amounts are going to be a pittance, maybe a coating to an inch. But the timing might impact your commute this evening, but then this is quickly in and out of here. Tomorrow, another little doodad is going to come screaming in from the northwest amid another push of cold air. There you see the next snowmaker. That would arrive tomorrow afternoon and then zip on out of here so that during the evening, probably after 7 o'clock, there's no more snow falling, but there may be some impacts from the snow that comes down. I think both of these systems are coating to an inch each, so nobody's getting a lot of snow out of this, but it might be enough to just kind of make things slick here, and with a lot of folks out and about, particularly tomorrow evening, might have at least a minor impact on that. That is a cold Arctic high-pressure system, which will kick off 2026 here with some very chilly temperatures, but we will see at least a little bit of sunshine. Today, 25, little light snow coming in late as cloud cover increases. Tonight, few hours of snow in the evening, and we're done. Temperatures actually will rise overnight and should peak peak around 28 degrees tomorrow morning, and then we get that light afternoon snow. First day of 26, a high of 22, and then each day we bump it up by 4 degrees. We'll go 28, then 32, 36 for Bears game day, and I think we can hit 40 degrees on Monday. Gabriella, how about traffic? It looks like, the roads are shiny, but I'm not hearing of any black ice situations. Are you?
I'm not either, Mike. I'm really seeing way less crashes than we saw yesterday. Right now, we have Skyfox over I-55. This is just south of 294. Really no reports here, other than a little bit of traffic once you maybe get past the Oak Lawn area, Harlem Avenue. But let's talk about what's happening over on Cumberland, because remember I mentioned that car fire to you. It's on the inbound side. Near Cumberland Avenue. Crews are handling that car fire on the right lane. Now, actually, 2 right lanes are going to be blocked, but you can see that little bit of stop and go where that crash icon is near where it says O'Hare. Also, if you are taking the train this morning, there is a Milwaukee District North train. We're still having trouble there. It was scheduled to depart Chicago at 7:32. It will make stops at Fox Lake. I know we're having a lot of stop and go. Some trains not running there. Things seem to be looking up, but make sure you check your Metro app. An unusual bust by the Cook County Sheriff's Office.
I have never heard of this in terms of theft here. Investigators uncovered more than 25,000 pounds of stolen whey protein powder. Look at that warehouse stock in Bridgeview. This turned up after a cargo theft investigation. The powder is actually valued in total at more than $500,000. The investigation started earlier this month when a supply chain company contacted authorities to report that a large shipment of Seek protein powder had gone missing.
So the bad guy in the middle of this, he clones your order, and he clones the shipping order, the bill of lading, and he takes the order in the process. And now he sends the order that he cloned to the driver. The driver has no clue. So now your order, instead of going to you, is going to another location. And in the midst of that location, the bad guy sells your order into the warehouse that we recovered the coffee from in Melrose Park. So you never receive your order.
The Retail Crime Unit is continuing to gather information to build the theft case.
The Department of Health and Human Services plans to revamp the entire childhood vaccine schedule in the new year. They say that will result in fewer shots. The exact changes have not been announced yet. The Advisory Committee on Childhood Vaccines met yesterday. During that meeting, CDC officials emphasized the importance of immunizations for children.
Basically 30-year period from 1994 to 2023, which CDC estimated that vaccination of children born during that time prevented more than 500 million illnesses, avoided more than 1 million deaths.
The final announcement on the new vaccine schedule is expected in the new year.
All right, the Trump administration is rolling out a $10 billion plan to fund rural health care. The money will be distributed to all 50 states, but it will be recalculated annually. And this will allow the Trump administration to, quote, claw back money if state policies don't match the priorities and policies of the administration. Dr. Oz claims the clawbacks will not be used as punishment for Democratic-led states. The father of NASCAR star Denny Hamlin was killed in a house fire in North Carolina. Authorities say 75-year-old Dennis Hamlin died from injuries sustained on Sunday. Hamlin's mother is being treated at a hospital for burn injuries as well. Authorities say 45% of the house was engulfed in flames when they arrived. They say it took crews about 2 hours to put out the fire completely. The cause of that fire is under investigation.
British boxing champion Anthony Joshua is recovering after being involved in a deadly car crash in Nigeria. Authorities say Joshua sustained minor bruising in the crash. 2 other occupants in the vehicle with him, including the driver, were killed. Joshua is a former world heavyweight champion.
Beyonce is now a billionaire. This marks the 5th time that a musician has reached this financial milestone. She joins Taylor Swift, Bruce Springsteen, Rihanna, and Beyonce will join her husband, Jay-Z, already reached that mark. According to Forbes, Beyonce brought in an estimated $148 million this year before taxes, making her the 3rd highest paid musician in the world.
Must be nice, but she's adding another B to her collection there, right? Mm-hmm.
Indeed.
Yeah, you heard me there.
Indeed.
Plenty more Good Day Chicago ahead. Keep it right here.
He must be Doc Martin.
Dr. Best.
Welcome back. The IRS has updated retirement contribution limits, including for your IRAs and 401ks.
For those who contribute to their 401ks, 403bs, federal 457 plans, and the thrift saving plans, your contribution limit is increasing by $1,000. That will set your maximum contribution amount to $24,500. The IRA contribution limit will increase by $500, now sitting at $7,500.
New data show that hundreds of companies in the U.S. went bankrupt in 2025. S&P Global Market Intelligence figures show about 717 U.S. companies went bankrupt this year through November. That is about a 14% jump over the same period the previous year, and also the highest number since 2010. The data also show that U.S. bankruptcies are reaching levels not seen since the Great Recession.
Good Day Chicago at 7 starts now.
And right now on Good Day Chicago at 7 o'clock, how Chicago is prepping for safe celebrations on New Year's Eve.
A man is facing multiple charges after crashing into a CPD squad car and injuring officers.
Property taxes are going up after all. We're going to have details on a vote by the Chicago Board of Education.
And taking a live look outside this morning, it's another cold start. No surprise there. And Mike says we could be seeing some snow today. That is a pretty sight.
All right, we appreciate you joining us, kicking off your Tuesday morning. Here at 7 o'clock on the nose, Mike Kaplan.
Yes?
How are we doing outside today?
Yeah, we're getting a little bit of sunshine. There are a few spots still seeing a flurry. Notice at the Lansing Airport, the one in Chicagoland, not Michigan, seeing a couple of flurries out there. But the main snow event today is coming in late afternoon, early evening. And it's not going to be a big deal. Don't get too excited about this. So we open up with a little bit of sunshine. That's a good thing. But it is cold. Don't let that early sun deceive you. 16 at 9. At noon, we'll be 20 degrees, and clouds will already be thickening up in advance of that snowmaker. At 4 o'clock, light snow is going to be arriving in Chicagoland. That doesn't mean all of us will have snow yet at 4. I would say Lake and McHenry County would be the areas most likely to get in on it first. 11 right now at O'Hare. We have a west wind at 7, so there's the wind chill. Feels like 0, and it's pretty close to a 0 wind chill anywhere in Chicagoland, even the spots where we have single-digit temperatures like Woodstock, Aurora, Morris. 11 at Midway, 12 at Gary, 11 at Valparaiso. The warmest part of today will actually be tonight as the snow is ending. We'll look at the 2 snows that are on the way in just a little bit. But right now, let's get it over to Gabriella, who's been keeping tabs on our commute this morning.
Been trying at least, Mike, but you know what? There's really no major incidents to report other than what I've already been telling you about. That's over on the inbound side of the Kennedy near Cumberland. It's a car fire. It's over in the 2 right lanes. So you see a little bit of stop and go as you come off the Jane Addams over onto the Kennedy near O'Hare Airport. It looks like that's a crash over in Aurora off the expressway. From the looks of it, it's really not causing any major issues. But I do want to take a look at Skyfox. They're up and over I-55 this morning. No issues to report here, thankfully. Your drive time still looking mighty fine at 30 minutes on the Stevenson from 355 to DuSable Lakeshore Drive. Around 30 on the Eisenhower as well. I'm going to call it 35 on the Kennedy from O'Hare to downtown, and way down to the Dan Ryan. We're at 20 minutes from 95th to the Byrne interchange. As we count down to the new year, Chicago will be in the national spotlight this year.
Roseanne Tejas has more on an event that draws some of the year's largest crowds downtown. Roseanne Tejas live with the preps. Good morning, Roseanne.
It's a big party, that is for sure. And since some of those festivities will be broadcast nationally this year, officials here in the city are more determined than ever to put our best foot forward. We do anticipate huge crowds here along the river to gather for free events that begin at 5 p.m. with a special projection on the Merchandise Mart at 7 and performances on the main stage starting at 9. Fireworks will light up the river both near the Art on the Mart and Navy Pier, and officials plan to enforce a strict 10 p.m. curfew for anyone under 18, not with an adult. This after a 14-year-old was killed and 8 others hurt during a teen takeover near Millennium Park at the tree lighting this year. Police Superintendent Larry Snelling says disruptive behavior will not be tolerated.
First of all, we're going to be highly visible throughout the entirety of the city. We're going to make sure that we have sufficient manpower. We've already made provisions for that. This manpower will not just be in the downtown area.
We want to remind everybody CTA buses and trains are free starting at 10 on New Year's Eve. And a heads up about the festivities here along the river. The 6 bridges will have to close. They'll shut down at 11:30 for that synchronized fireworks show, and then again open up after that. Also, Franklin and Gabby, you mentioned this earlier, it's shut down between Lake and Wacker already this morning in anticipation of the big party. We'll have more on some of the fun stuff you can expect and all the goings on New Year's Eve a little later in the show. Along the river this morning, Roseanne Tejas, Fox Chicago.
All right, thank you, Roseanne. Stay warm out there. And yeah, it seems like all the bridges are closed anyway because of the construction that's going on. All right, 7:04 now. This is a story we brought you yesterday. A man is facing multiple charges after a crash left 2 Chicago police officers injured. 18-year-old Orlando Matos III is charged with 2 counts of felony aggravated reckless driving. The officers were heading south on Racine in Wrigleyville when the car ran a stop sign. The car was also stolen. St. Sabina is making some changes after a shooting outside the church over the weekend.
Brian Jackson here in studio with the latest on what happened here. Brian?
Well, St. Sabina is now canceling an adult basketball league after 3 men were shot outside of the church. This all happened just after 4 p.m. on Sunday at 78th and Racine. Because of the shooting, St. Sabina is now implementing new security changes at all sporting events, including pat-downs and bag checks. Father Michael Flager tells Fox Chicago that it started as an argument inside the gym. He said the organizers thought that the issue was resolved, but when everyone started leaving the gym, someone shot into a group of people. He also said that there is surveillance video of the shooting and that it's now in the hands of Chicago police.
I'm one of those people that believe when people do things particular, and when it comes to shootings, there has to be consequences, otherwise nothing changes.
This is the second shooting outside of St. Sabina this year. You may remember multiple people were shot following a graduation party in that same area. Right now, Chicago police is still looking for the suspects from Sunday's shooting. Anthony?
All right, thank you, Brian. Appreciate it. Well, the Chicago Board of Education has voted in favor of raising property taxes for Chicagoans after a secret meeting that is raising some major questions this morning. Board members voted 15-5 to increase property taxes by $25 million. That is the max allowed under Illinois state law. The school district is hoping that this, along with a record amount of TIF surplus money, will help balance the budget. Carlos Rivas, one of the 5 no votes, says this vote comes at a time that Chicago families are reeling from high costs.
This is something that, even if it is $16 on my home, it is something that lots of families can't afford, and it just adds to the compounding effect of the large increases in their taxes.
Fox Chicago has also learned that school board president Sean Hardin vowed to force the resignation of any board member who leaks information about that meeting.
A luxury retail store in Barrington is missing nearly all of its inventory after it was burglarized. This is Restyle Designers Barrington on South Cook Street. You can see a group of people breaking into the store early Sunday morning and grabbing everything off the shelves. No one has been arrested and none of the stolen items have been recovered.
A former counselor at Hartgrove Hospital in Chicago, charged with sexually abusing patients, is pleading not guilty. Edmund Rivers is accused of abusing 5 boys between the ages of 7 and 14. Those victims came forward after a lawsuit last year accused several staff members of abusing more than 100 minors. Rivers is due back in court next month. Meantime, a Chicago family is demanding answers. They say that ICE is ignoring a judge's order and keeping 2 men locked up. According to the family, on November 5th, ICE detained 29-year-old Yuri Andres Lopez Jimenez and 33-year-old Edwin Adrian Mendoza during a routine check-in. Family members say neither of them were trying to evade authorities. Instead, both were transferred to a detention facility in Missouri. The family says a week later, an immigration judge ordered voluntary departure for both them, but both men are still in ICE custody. Under federal law, ICE is required to carry out a judge's final order unless there is an appeal or an official stay in place.
It's complicated because they're supposed to follow due process. If there is a higher court order, they should comply with it. This leaves us in limbo regarding our rights. We know we're immigrants and that we're in a country that is not ours. We're not demanding anything that isn't feasible. We're simply asking that due process be respected and that the court order be followed.
The family is now also considering legal options if ICE continues to delay compliance.
President Trump is ramping up pressure on Venezuela, going from attacking drug boats to striking the shoreline. The president says his administration recently destroyed a dock area where he claims boats were being loaded up with drugs. He's not confirming the exact location. This comes as the U.S. military says it attacked a boat accused of smuggling drugs in the eastern Pacific Ocean yesterday, killing 2 people on board.
President Trump also met with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to talk about the next stages of the ceasefire in Gaza. Trump issued a warning against Hamas if the group refuses to disarm. He also had a message for Iran after Israeli officials said that they may be rebuilding their missile program.
I hear that Iran is trying to build up again, and if they are, we're going to have to knock them down.
Monday's meeting comes just one day after the president met with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky.
All right, taking a live look outside. Time for another check of your forecast. And look at that sunrise.
Nice.
The pink hue. Does that mean anything, Mike? You know,
red sky in the morning, sailor take morning.
That's
right.
Yeah, so for you boaters out there, no. No, we just have a little reddening of the sky that is typical as the sun is coming up, and that's creating a kind of pink hue out there. We have some high clouds as well, and we've seen a few flurries overnight. As I've been mentioning most of the morning, we actually had 21 hours in a row where snow was reported at O'Hare from Sunday night through yesterday evening. Things have kind of quieted down there anyway this morning, but boy, it is cold. Let's talk about the holiday that's on the way and the weather we can expect for the next few days. It's going to be wintry going into 2026. Light snow today arrives by evening. It'll be an inch or less. Another light snow tomorrow afternoon. That one also an inch or less. Highs mainly in the 20s right on through New Year's Day. Out there, you can take a look at our cameras panning across our beautiful skyscrapers there. 11 degrees at O'Hare. West winds are blowing at 7 as we give you a look at Lake Point Tower and Navy Pier. The wind chill, what it feels like, 0. Do you need the coat, the hat, the gloves? Yep. These are the current temps. 12 at Waukegan, Chicago's lakefront with 12. It's 12 at Joliet, but a few spots have dipped into the single digits, even though barely. 8 at Woodstock, Aurora, 9 at Morris, 8 at DeKalb. We've got 11 at Valparaiso, and in Michigan City, it is 16 degrees with a 14-mile-an-hour wind. Waukegan, all morning long, kind of been the windiest spot on this map. We have a 19-mile-per-hour west wind there. Here you see the wind chills. Most areas at or below 0. Feels like 4 below at Midway, 6 below at Woodstock. And it's not going to get much warmer during daylight hours today. Tonight will actually be the warmest part of this day. We'll have a little sunshine this morning, but there is some light snow on the way, and it may start as early as around 4:30 in the northern suburbs, headed toward the city and point south later. Talk about amounts and the snow for tomorrow. Just a couple of minutes. Back to you both.
Security will be increased in New Orleans ahead of some big events with help from the National Guard. We'll have that information when we come back.
At Post Milan, we're backed by a team of
Welcome back. A man is facing multiple charges in a crash that left 2 Chicago police officers injured.
18-year-old Orlando Matos III is charged with 2 counts now of felony aggravated reckless driving. The officers, they were headed southbound on Racine in Wrigleyville when they were hit by his car when it ran a stop sign.
The Chicago Board of Education votes in favor of raising property taxes for Chicagoans. Board members voted 15-5 to increase property taxes by $25 million. The school district is hoping this and a record amount of tip surplus money will help balance its budget. The second pilot in Sunday's midair helicopter collision in New Jersey has died. The helicopters collided shortly after takeoff. The 2 pilots have been identified as 71-year-old Michael Greensberg and 65-year-old Kenneth Kirsch. Investigators say the 2 pilots were friends and often ate together at a local cafe, including on the day of the crash.
Transcripts from a closed-door hearing for the man accused of killing conservative activist Charlie Kirk have been released. Tyler Robinson appeared virtually from his Utah County jail cell. The October hearing focused on whether he should be shackled during court appearances, with defense attorneys saying that he posed no threat. His lawyers also asked to ban cameras in the courtroom, which did prompt media groups to push back. The judge released the transcripts, calling transparency foundational. He also ordered notice to the press before any future hearings are closed.
New Orleans will see a heavy security presence 1 year after the deadly attack on Bourbon Street. Last New Year's Day, 14 people were killed in a terror attack when a 42-year-old man drove a rented pickup truck around roadblocks and right through a crowd. The stepped-up security will include National Guard troops deployed to the city by the Trump administration. The mayor and other city officials say they welcome the Guard patrols.
It appears that we're going to have close to 800 law enforcement downtown and in the French Quarter, and I think that that's going to be outstanding. You're going to see an incredible visual presence in the French Quarter and throughout downtown over the rest of this week.
The National Guard will be in the city through Mardi Gras on Tuesday, February 17th.
A second actor who worked on a Tyler Perry movie is suing the filmmaker and accusing him of sexual assault. His name is Mario Rodriguez. He is seeking $77 million in damages, and he claims that Perry used his power to make sexual advances toward him multiple times between 2016 and 2019. Rodriguez is also suing Lionsgate for allegedly turning a blind eye. Now, a similar lawsuit was filed in June, but Tyler Perry's team says this is a, quote, a money grab.
The Department of Homeland Security is ramping up an investigation into child care and other fraud allegations in the state of Minnesota. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem shared video of federal agents on the ground in Minneapolis going door to door. They're investigating businesses suspected of swindling millions in state taxpayer dollars. The issue gained national attention after a YouTuber claimed to uncover millions of dollars in fraud at 10 Minneapolis child care centers. Governor Tim Walz's office is defending his handling of the scandal, telling Fox News, quote, the governor has worked for years to crack down on fraud and asked the state legislator for more authority to take aggressive action. He has strengthened oversight, end quote.
All right, 7:17. It's Mike Kaplan time. Hey, look at that. Right on cue.
Really
the sun
nice.
comes up over Lake Michigan. I like the fact that we're getting seconds more of daylight with every passing day, right?
Yes.
I agree, Anthony.
It won't be too much longer before that sun isn't setting until 8 o'clock at night.
Oh, my God.
All right, maybe it's 6 months, but
That's it.
I like the optimism. And that's a beautiful shot there. Yes, it is cold, but we will get a little bit of sunshine out there as that sun comes up over some lake effect cloud cover, which still producing some snow in parts of southwest Michigan. This is our future cast, way of looking at what the radar and satellite imagery should look like later today. And at 4:30, you begin to see some snow sneaking in from the north. Might get a little farther south than that by 4:30, but you get the idea that late afternoon into the evening hours, it's going to be snowing across most of Chicagoland, but it's a quick hitter. I don't think anybody's getting more than about 4 or 5 hours of snow. It's light, an inch tops. Most of us, it'll just be a fresh coating, but if you're driving around 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, you might see some snow, and it could coat the highways. Tomorrow morning, we start out dry. Then, in the afternoon, here comes system number 2, and the last one for the year. This one could lay down another coating to perhaps an inch of snow. current thinking might favor areas south of the city for that one as having the most snow, but nobody is getting much snow out of either of these systems, but they could be a nuisance, especially, tomorrow with so many people out on the road going somewhere for New Year's Eve. So what type of amounts are we looking at? And again, I'm just not impressed with a whole lot coming in here. This is our future cast. You see about a ½ inch today, and then maybe another ½ inch to 3/4 coming in tomorrow. And you see that southern bias perhaps for tomorrow's snowfall. Today, 25, but that high doesn't happen until tonight. Fading sunshine, snow coming in after 4 o'clock. Tonight, a few hours of light snow, up to an inch, most areas less, with rising temperatures. Look at the 7-day forecast. Yeah, we start out cold on New Year's Day with a 22, but then we beef temperatures up a little bit. Should be great weather for the Bears-Lions game Sunday at Soldier. And then on Monday, I think we'll be close to 40 degrees for the high. Back to you. Let's get that commute. What do we, is it a crash here, Gabby?
This is a crash, Mike. Skyfox is over Addison. This is just west of 355 here. It's Army Trail Road and Swift Road, so fairly busy intersection. It looks like they're just cleaning it up right now, trying to get that last car over on the tow truck. But yeah, Skyfox giving us a look at this. If you do live in this area, know that you're going to see some stop and go. It looks like they're blocking at least one side of the road. Other parts of the intersection are open, so at least traffic can kind of weave through and use an alternate route. I'll give you updates on that. Other than that, we're really not seeing much around our area. We do have that crash hanging on. It's New York Street and Farnsworth Avenue, and that really isn't causing any traffic. Let's take a look, though. If you are traveling inbound to the city, we're still at 35 minutes on the Kennedy from O'Hare to downtown. That earlier crash going inbound at Cumberland, or I shouldn't say crash, car fire. Still a little bit stop and go traffic as you approach that area. 25 minutes on the Eisenhower and on the Stevenson, under 20 minutes on the Dan Ryan from 95th to the Byrne Interchange. Anthony.
Okay, thank you, Gabby. Appreciate it. Well, we got plenty more to get to here on Good Day Chicago. The Department of Health and Human Services plans to revamp the childhood vaccine schedule in 2026. We'll run through some of the changes on the table there. Also, New York City is ramping up preps for the big New Year's event in Times Square. And as we close out 2025, Jake Hamilton is looking back on his favorite movies of the year. That's all coming up.
Fox 32 News.
Welcome back. Northwestern appears to have hired former Oregon and UCLA head coach Chip Kelly as its new offensive coordinator. ESPN was the first to report his hiring. Kelly was fired as the Raiders offensive coach last month. Last year, he was the offensive coordinator for Ohio State's national championship team.
The Department of Health and Human Services plans to revamp the entire childhood vaccine schedule in the new year. They say that will result in fewer shots. The exact changes have not been announced just yet. The Advisory Committee on Childhood Vaccines met yesterday. During that meeting, CDC officials emphasized the importance of immunizations for children.
The last basically 30-year period from 1994 to 2023, which CDC estimated that vaccination of children born during that time prevented more than 500 million illnesses, avoided more than 1 million deaths.
The final announcement on the new vaccine schedule is expected in the new year.
The Trump administration is rolling out a $10 billion plan to fund rural health care. The money will be distributed to all 50 states, but it will be recalculated on an annual basis. And this will allow the Trump administration to, quote, claw back funds if state policies don't match administration policies. Dr. Oz claims that the clawbacks will not be used, though, as punishments for Democratic-led states.
More musicians have pulled out of performing at the renamed John F. Kennedy Center for the Performing Arts. The Arts Center was rebranded this month after President Trump added his name to the building. A previously promoted Christmas Eve jazz concert by musician Chuck Red was canceled over the name change. The Cookers, a jazz band scheduled for New Year's Eve, did not specifically cite the name change, but a statement suggested politics was involved. Christy Lee, who was scheduled for January 14th, also canceled over the rebrand.
The father of NASCAR star Denny Hamlin was killed in a really bad house fire that broke out in North Carolina. You can see the aftermath there. Authorities say 75-year-old Dennis Hamlin died from his injuries that he sustained on Sunday. Hamlin's mother is being treated at the hospital for burn injuries. Authorities say 45% of the house was engulfed in flames when they got there. They say it took crews about 2 hours to put the fire completely out. The cause of it is under investigation.
British boxing champion Anthony Joshua is recovering after being involved in a deadly car crash in Nigeria. Authorities say Joshua sustained minor bruising in the crash. 2 other occupants in the vehicle with him, including the driver, were killed. Joshua is a former world heavyweight champion.
Beyonce, guess what? Now a billionaire, everybody. This marks the 5th time that a musician has reached this milestone. So she will join Taylor Swift, Bruce Springsteen, Rihanna, and Beyonce will join her husband Jay-Z on this milestone. According to Forbes, Beyonce brought in an estimated $148 million this year before taxes, making her the 3rd highest paid musician in the world.
Organizers in New York City are getting ready for one of the biggest New Year's parties in the world. The official confetti test happened in Times Square yesterday.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Happy New Year! Oh my God!
I love that moment. More than 3,000 pounds of it will be dropped in Times Square when the clock strikes midnight. The ball drop has been happening since 1907. Now, who cleans that up?
That's a good question.
It must be a whole crew, right?
Get those leaf blowers out there.
You think that's
I think
what's
it's
right?
more than that, Anthony.
Yeah. Major vacuum, industrial vacuum cleaners.
You're going to need that.
Yeah.
Who else was on that list besides Beyonce?
Taylor Swift.
Okay, and Rihanna.
Rihanna.
Was Selena Gomez on there?
No.
Oh, but I think she is a billionaire.
I thought, because I brought this up before. That's like a surprising.
Also has a great brand.
Yeah, I think that not
makeup
so much
brand,
because
maybe?
Right, it's all that other stuff, which is why again I'm turning on my lobster business.
That's right.
Stolen lobster.
That and whey protein.
Protein powder.
We have some cold weather to close out this year. There's a warming trend in sight, though. And look at that beautiful sunrise happening right now. We've got the complete forecast coming up after this.
At College of Lake County, we're framing our future.
Just into the newsroom, 3 men are facing felony charges after they were caught on camera burglarizing a freight train in Chicago. It happened in Englewood the morning of December 19th. The video captured 2 of the suspects breaking into a shipping container before taking packages and jumping off the tracks into an alley. A third person was caught speeding away in a minivan. 25-year-old Sean Smith, 26-year-old Marcus Moore, and 55-year-old Errol Miller are all charged with felony burglary. Miller is also charged with aggravated fleeing and eluding. You're watching Good Day Chicago. It's 7:31. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, we appreciate it. Here's some of the stories we're following for you to kick off Tuesday morning. A Los Angeles Superior Court judge has blocked the release of Rob Reiner and Michelle Singer Reiner's autopsy reports. This is according to the LA Times. The police department requested the order to prevent info from leaking to the public. Prosecutors claim Reiner's 32-year-old son, Nick, stabbed his parents to death at their home earlier this month.
President Trump is ramping up pressure on Venezuela, ordering a strike along the shoreline for the first time. The president says the strike destroyed a dock where he claims boats were being loaded up with drugs. This comes a day after the military says it attacked a boat accused of smuggling drugs in the eastern Pacific Ocean. The strike killed 2 people on board.
President Trump is warning that Iran, that the U.S. could order additional strikes on the country if it attempts to rebuild its nuclear program. During a meeting on Monday, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and Trump discussed the possibility of taking new military action. Trump previously said the U.S. destroyed Iran's nuclear powers during a series of strikes in June. All of Chicago's New Year's Eve festivities bring huge crowds downtown each year.
But this year, the city will be spotlighted as part of a national broadcast. Roseanne has more on how the city is preparing. Roseanne.
With so many eyes on Chicago this year, the mayor is asking everyone to represent the city proudly. And local and now federal law enforcement are asking them to do it safely, too. Crowds are expected to gather along the river for free events beginning at 5 p.m. One highlight, the special projection on the Merchandise Mart at 7 p.m. Performances by Chance the Rapper, Shamika Copeland, and others start at 9. Fireworks will light up the river both near the Art on the Mart and Navy Pier. And officials plan to enforce a strict 10 p.m. curfew for anyone under 18 not accompanied by an adult. That after a 14-year-old was killed and 8 others injured during a teen takeover near Millennium Park at this year's tree lighting. Since Chicago will be a part of that national broadcast, law enforcement is getting a boost from the U.S. Secret Service.
This has been designated as worthy to get federal support, and because of that, we are here to help coordinate federal assets to support and cooperate with the CPD and all the other city officials.
A reminder, the CTA offers free rides on buses and trains starting at 10 on New Year's Eve. We also want to let you know that Franklin Street is already shut down this morning between Lake and Wacker for the big party. In fact, we're going to head over there and we'll tell you more about all of the entertainment you can expect on New Year's Eve coming up later in the hour. Along the river, Roseanne Tejas, Fox Chicago.
Time is now 7:34 this morning. A man is facing multiple charges after a crash injured 2 Chicago police officers. 18-year-old Orlando Matos III is charged with 2 counts of felony aggravated reckless driving. The officers were heading south on Racine and Wrigleyville when the car ran a stop sign. The car was also stolen. A luxury retail store in Barrington is missing nearly all of its inventory after it's burglarized. This is video from Restyle Designers Barrington, located on South Cook Street. You can see a group of people breaking into the store early Sunday morning and grabbing everything off the shelves. No one has been arrested, and none of the stolen items have been recovered. A former counselor at Hargrove Hospital in Chicago is pleading not guilty. Edmund Rivers is accused of sexually abusing 5 boys between the ages of 7 and 14. Those victims came forward after a lawsuit last year accused several staff members of abusing more than 100 minors. Rivers is due back in court sometime next month. The Chicago Board of Education votes in favor of raising property taxes for Chicagoans following a secret meeting that is now raising some major questions. Board members voted 15-5 to increase property taxes by $25 million. That is the max allowed under Illinois state law. The school district is hoping that this and a record amount of surplus money will help balance its budget. Carlos Rivas, one of the 5 no votes, says It comes at a time where Chicago families are already reeling from high cost.
This is something that, even if it is $16 on my home, it is something that lots of families can't afford, and it just adds to the compounding effect of the large increases in their taxes.
Fox Chicago has also learned that school board president Sean Hardin promised to force the resignation of any board member who linked information about that meeting. The National Weather Service is confirming 3 tornadoes hit central Illinois during Sunday's severe weather outbreak. At EF1, a touchdown in Tazewell County, about 3 miles outside of east of Pekin, and EF0 touchdown just south of Redmond, and an EF2 tornado hit Christian, Macon, and Piatt counties, traveling nearly 24 miles total. Thankfully, though, nobody was hurt. As we check in with Mike Kaplan this morning, not dealing with any tornado-like winds, just frigid cold temperatures.
Just cold. You know, and our local weather service confirmed 5 tornadoes in Livingston and Iroquois County, well south of Chicago on Sunday as well. So another, one of these odd winter tornado events that we've had, several winters recently. But out there right now, it's quiet, mighty cold, and any sunshine that you enjoy is going to be fleeting. We have the first of 2 clipper systems on the way, and that's going to move in here this afternoon. It's going to be a light snow producer. 12 at Joliet and Waukegan, and also Gary. It's 11 at Chicago's Lakefront, 16 at Michigan City, LaSalle, Peru with 12. LaSalle, Peru, you're in an area that today might not get any snow, but tomorrow would be in a position to perhaps get a little bit more snow than your neighbors to the northeast. Winds, nowhere near as strong as yesterday. One of the stronger winds is there in Waukegan all morning long, kind of in there in that 15 to 20 mile per hour range, while most of Chicagoland around 10. But it's enough to produce wind chills at or below 0. Feels like 5 below at Aurora, 7 below at DeKalb, and 3 below in Merrillville. It is a hat and gloves type of a morning, despite the fact that we have a little bit of sunshine. So there's a little snow on the way, not a biggie, coming in here very late afternoon, really more of an evening deal. There you see it about 7, 8 o'clock. We have snow falling across much of Chicagoland, but it's in and out of here like that. Tomorrow we'll start dry. In the afternoon, a few scattered snow showers, and notice where the more widespread and perhaps heavier snow is falling tomorrow at 1 in the afternoon, southwest of the city, and then scooting on out of here again, just a quick hitter. I think both of these are going to be 1 inch or less snowstorms, and then on New Year's Day, it should be partly cloudy, dry, but mighty cold with temperatures only in the 20s. Forecast snowfall amounts are light, generally talking about coating to maybe an inch coming in here between both systems, the one today and the other one tomorrow afternoon. Got some very fine photos to share with you, including this scene from Steve D. in LaPorte, Indiana. And it looks like, Steve, I'm assuming that is your yard. You got more snow. Wow. You got hit with some lake effect there, didn't you? The deer, they are feeding. I'm assuming that Mr. D is putting out some corn.
Okay.
Deer seem to love corn. And a lot of folks like to feed them.
You see the little guy in the back there?
Yeah, absolutely. You got the whole family out there, Steve. Cool picture. And our second photo, this one from Amanda Chenery. This is a dark-eyed junco checking out an ornament outside covered with snow in Porter, Indiana. The juncos, a lot of people call them snowbirds because they aren't here in the summer. They are a winter bird, and they love to typically find seeds that are on the ground, or in this case, hanging on top of that snow on that ornament. Yeah. Thank you both for your pictures, and you can get them to us via the Fox 32 weather app.
All right, time's now 7:40 this morning. Let's take a look at your drive times as we head to break. We'll be right back.
Welcome back. The second pilot in Sunday's mid-air helicopter collision in New Jersey has died. The helicopters collided shortly after takeoff. The two pilots have been identified as 71-year-old Michael Greensberg and 65-year-old Kenneth Kirsch. Investigators say the two pilots were friends and often ate together at a local cafe, including on the day of the crash.
Transcripts from a closed-door hearing for the man accused of killing conservative activist Charlie Kirk have been released. Tyler Robinson appeared virtually from his Utah County jail cell. The October hearing focused on whether he should be shackled in court, with defense attorneys saying that he posed no threat. His lawyers also asked to ban cameras in the courtroom, which did prompt backlash from media groups, and the judge released these transcripts, calling transparency foundational. That judge also ordered notice to the press before any future hearings are closed.
New Orleans will see a heavy security presence 1 year after the deadly attack on Bourbon Street. Last New Year's Day, 14 people were killed in a terror attack when a 42-year-old man drove a rented pickup truck around roadblocks and right through a crowd. The stepped-up security will include National Guard troops deployed to the city by the Trump administration. The mayor and other city officials say they welcome the Guard patrols.
It appears that we're going to have close to 800 law enforcement downtown and in the French Quarter, and I think that that's going to be outstanding. You're going to see an incredible visual presence in the French Quarter and throughout downtown over the rest of this week.
Guard will be in the city through Mardi Gras on Tuesday, February 17th.
TMZ is reporting that the singer David is likely to face murder charges in the death of Celeste Rivas. The grand jury hearing this case is expected to decide on an indictment here, and prosecutors believe that David was involved in the teenager's death. TMZ reports the grand jury could continue hearing testimony all the way into February. Rivas's body, she's only 15 years old, it was discovered in a Tesla, in the trunk of a Tesla at a tow yard over 3 months ago, and that car was registered to the singer. And a second actor who worked on a Tyler Perry production is suing the filmmaker, accusing him of sexual assault. Mario Rodriguez is seeking $77 million in damages. He claims that Perry used his power to make sexual advances toward him multiple times between 2016 and 2019. Rodriguez is also suing Lionsgate for allegedly turning a blind eye to this behavior. A similar lawsuit was filed in June. Tyler Perry's team says this is a, quote, money grab.
The Department of Homeland Security is ramping up an investigation into child care and other fraud allegations in the state of Minnesota. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem shared a video of federal agents on the ground in Minneapolis going door to door. They're investigating businesses suspected of swindling millions in state taxpayer dollars. The issue gained national attention after a YouTuber claimed to uncover millions of dollars in fraud at 10 Minneapolis child care centers. Governor Tim Walz's office is defending his handling of the scandal, telling Fox News, quote, "The governor has worked for years to crack down on the fraud and asked the state legislator for more authority to take aggressive action. He has strengthened oversight." End quote. All right, well, here's a live look outside. The sun is up. Luckily, our traffic's looking okay, Mike, but our weather, we are going to see some flakes later on, huh?
Yeah, late afternoon, early evening, a little light snow. You see where that little steam comes up there?
Yes.
Off the roof there. Yeah, that shows you how cold it is out there. But a little bit of sun through some of the high cloud cover, that will fade. This storm system, and it's not a big one for us, it's going to be moving in from the northwest. And there you see that area of snow late this afternoon across southern Wisconsin, moving across most of Chicagoland during the early evening hours. And it snows maybe 3 to 5 hours total, so that we get a coating to maybe an inch at most. Tomorrow morning, we'll start out dry, and then there's another little feature diving in from the northwest. This looks like a mid-afternoon hit with another coating to an inch of snow across parts of the area, so nobody's getting an awful lot of snow here. But we have 2 more snows to deal with before the end of the year. By the time we get to tomorrow evening, 8 o'clock, o'clock, it's just getting cold and the snow will be over. And then it's going to be a cold New Year's Day courtesy of an Arctic high pressure system, which will be with us for a couple of days. Then it looks like temperatures will start to rebound starting this weekend. In fact, here's the temperature outlook for the second week of January. Widespread warmer than normal conditions for the country, including in Chicagoland. So yeah, we've got a couple of cold days, but the overall trend is still for generally mild conditions going into mid-January. 25 today. Warmest part of the day is tonight, when temperatures will be rising amid that snowfall of an inch or less. Tomorrow, you'll see a high of 28 degrees with some snow in the afternoon, 22 on New Year's Day. And here's that moderating trend. 36 Bears at home against the Lions, and we'll hit 40 degrees for the high temperature on Monday. All right, Gabby.
Mike, we're just going to go through some drive times. I hope everyone's at home enjoying their holiday break, and it seems to be because not a lot of people are on the roads. 35 minutes right now on the Kennedy from O'Hare to downtown. That little bit of stop and go right as you leave O'Hare or leave the Jane Addams is because of an earlier car fire near Cumberland. That has gone away a while ago, but still a little bit of traffic as you approach that area. 25 minutes on the Eisenhower and on the Stevenson. Under 20 minutes on the Dan Ryan from 95th to the Byrne interchange. Anthony, an unusual bust by the Cook County Sheriff's Office.
I haven't seen one
this morning.
Yeah, I haven't seen one like this, Gabby. Look at this footage of what investigators uncovered. That right there is more than 25,000 pounds of stolen whey protein powder. It was discovered at a warehouse in Bridgeview after a cargo theft investigation. That powder is actually in total valued at more than $500,000. The investigation started earlier this month when a supply chain company contacted the Cook County Sheriff's Office to report that a large shipment of Chic protein powder had gone missing.
So the bad guy in the middle of this, he clones your order, and he clones the shipping order, the bill of lading, and he takes the order in the process. And now he sends the order that he cloned to the driver. The driver has no clue. So now your order, instead of going to you, is going to another location. And in the midst of that location, the bad guy sells your order into the warehouse that we recovered the coffee from in Melrose Park. So you never receive your order.
Yeah, the Cook County Sheriff's Office continuing to gather information as it builds its theft case.
The Department of Health and Human Services plans to revamp the entire childhood vaccine schedule in the new year. They say that will result in fewer shots. The exact changes have not been announced just yet. The Advisory Committee on Childhood Vaccines met yesterday. During that meeting, CDC officials emphasized the importance of immunizations for children.
The last basically 30-year period from 1994 to 2023, which CDC estimated that vaccination of children born during that time prevented more than 500 million illnesses, avoided more than 1 million deaths.
The final announcement on the new vaccine schedule is expected in the new year.
All right, the Trump administration is rolling out a $10 billion plan to fund rural health care. This money will be distributed to all 50 states, but it will be recalculated annually. This will allow the Trump administration to, quote, claw back funds if state policies don't match their policies. Dr. Oz claims the clawbacks will not be used as punishments for Democratic-led states.
More musicians have pulled out of performing at the renamed John F. Kennedy Center for the Performing Arts. The Arts Center was rebranded this month after President Trump added his name to the building. A previously promoted Christmas Eve jazz concert by musician Chuck Red was canceled over the name change. The Cookers, a jazz band scheduled for New Year's Eve, did not specifically cite the name change, but a statement suggested politics was involved. Christy Lee, who was scheduled for January 14th, also canceled over the rebrand.
Other news, Beyonce is now a billionaire. And this marks the 5th time that a musician has reached this milestone, so she will join Taylor Swift, Bruce Springsteen, Rihanna, and her own husband, Jay-Z. According to Forbes, Beyonce brought in an estimated $148 million this year before taxes, making her the 3rd highest paid musician in the world. Congrats. All right, as 2025 comes to a close here, we are looking back on everything this year has given us, yes, even the movies.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this. Jake joins us now to look back over his top 10 favorite films of the year. Jake, welcome back to you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Happy to be back. Here's what I can tell you is this list tends to tick people off. So I'm just going to go ahead and put that out there.
Okay.
It is my yearly tradition where I look back on my own top 10 favorite films released over the last 12 months, the ones that made me laugh, the ones that made me cry, and the ones that reminded me of just why I love sitting in that dark theater with strangers and just getting lost in a great story. I'm going to count down my picks for the best of the year, starting with number 10.
We need to build our car for combat.
How am I supposed to make that safe?
Who said anything about safe?
Buddy, you're a boy, make a big noise, playing in the street, gonna be a big man someday. You got mud on your face, you big disgrace, kicking your can all over the place.
Coming in at number 10, the Brad Pitt racing blockbuster F1. F1 reminded me of the kind of old school summer blockbusters I grew up watching on the big screen in the 90s. Top Gun Maverick director Joseph Kosinski didn't just capture the speed of racing, he captured the obsession. The movie was visceral, immersive, surprisingly human, and it put me in the cockpit of these insane cars while also giving me characters to root for. F1 is streaming now on Apple TV. Coming in at number 9, it was Just an Accident, a French thriller that will keep you guessing up until the final terrifying moment. It was Just an Accident tells the story of a mechanic who kidnaps a customer because he's pretty sure that customer is a former prison guard who used to torture him in an Iranian prison. Here's the thing. He's not entirely sure. So before he kills him, he enlists some fellow former inmates to see if they remember him. And that turns into a slow burn gut punch that is quiet, unsettling, and will leave you both questioning the morals of the characters and maybe even your own. It was Just an Accident is now available on video on demand.
There are many kinds of death. Some are better than others.
Coming in at number 8, the horror thriller 28 Years Later. Here's the thing. The third film in a nearly 30-year-old zombie franchise had no right being this good. But Oscar-winning director Danny Boyle understood the most important thing about zombies. If they are the most interesting part of your zombie movie, you have failed. This movie is a heartbreaking study of what it means to be human at a time when just surviving to the next day is an accomplishment. Zombie movies don't work if you don't care about the people who are being eaten. And this movie makes us love them. 28 Years Later is now streaming on Netflix. We're going to continue my countdown to the top 10, my top 10 favorite movies of 2025 in the next hour of Good Day Chicago. To see the entire list, follow me on Instagram at Jake's Takes and be sure to reach out and let me know your favorite movies of the year. Back over to you.
I'm not upset yet, so I'm going to hang in for the rest of this list.
You know what? I honestly, if you're still there after a zombie movie made by, then you're good. Then we're on a good start.
And you know how easily I get angered.
I know, Gabby.
Just wait, listen, I got 7 other chances to make it happen, so we'll see.
Thank you,
I will
Jake.
tell you my number 1, someone in this newsroom told me they hated it.
Wow, okay.
I'll go from there.
Okay.
Jake, we look forward to the rest of the list. Here is a look at what else is coming up on Good Day Chicago during our 8 and 9 o'clock hours. We hope your Tuesday's off to a great start. We'll be right back. Keep it here.
Welcome back. A new poll reveals what parents' top concern was in 2025. Anthony, we'll have to see if you agree with this. The C.S. Mott Children's Hospital at the University of Michigan asked parents about bullying, internet safety, and a lack of physical activity. The poll found they were most concerned about social media, screen time, and internet safety.
I'm going to go ahead and agree there.
Okay.
For sure. All right. The IRS has updated retirement contribution limits. They've kicked up the limits here, including for your IRAs and your 401ks. For those who contribute to their 401ks, 403bs, federal 457 plans, and the thrift savings plan, well, you can contribute a little more. The limit is increasing by $1,000 for those kinds of accounts. That'll set your maximum contribution amount at $24,500. The IRA contribution limit is also going up by $500, so instead of $7,000, you can now contribute this year to $7,500.
New data shows hundreds of companies in the U.S. went bankrupt in 2025. S&P Global Market Intelligence figures show about 717 U.S. companies went bankrupt through this year through November. That's about a 14% jump over the same year and also the highest number since 2010. The data also shows U.S. bankruptcies are reaching levels not seen since the Great Recession.
Now, here's something interesting. People are looking for work using dating apps to help them find a job. Data from ResumeBuilder.com says about a third of dating app users are using them to get matched with jobs and careers. The job seekers are using their dating profiles to help them find desirable companies or specific roles. To get around the difficulties of the job market, such apps include Tinder, Bumble, and Facebook dating.
The Illinois State Fair is stepping into the future and going digital. Hopefully Natalie Bumpke's watching. Tickets for next year's fair will now be available to purchase and download to your phone. Tickets are already on sale. The Illinois State Fair will be August 13th through the 23rd. As for the grandstand performers, so far only 2 names have been announced: country music stars Lainey Wilson and Ella Langley.
Here's a story that is near and dear to my heart. A longtime Indiana football fan is celebrating because he is finally headed to the Rose Bowl. Bill Murphy, he has been an Indiana season ticket holder for 66 years. A majority of those years have been losing seasons. The last time Indiana appeared in the Rose Bowl was way back in 1968.
When we went to the Rose Bowl in 1968, I had just turned 15, and my parents did not see the wisdom in sending a 15-year-old out to California by himself. To be involved with being a fan of Indiana football for as many years as I have, it's not always been easy because the lack of success for many years.
Number 1 Indiana will take on number 9 Alabama at the Rose Bowl this Thursday. Go Hoosiers. It's still weird for me to say number 1 Indiana.
Oh, it's awesome,
Yeah.
Anthony. You deserve it, buddy.
Thank you.
Photographers are a usual sight on the sidelines of Bears games, we know, but one we saw this weekend is used to being in the limelight herself, where Simone Biles was working as a photographer on Sunday as the Bears faced the 49ers. Now, we're not sure, Anthony, if this is a career change for her or more of her pride in husband and Bears player Jonathan Owens, but according to the NFL, it was just a little side gig for her.
All right.
Good Day Chicago at 8 starts now.
And right now at 8 o'clock, City of Chicago getting ready to ring in the new year. We will show you what they are doing to keep celebrations downtown safe for everybody.
Plus, a dietitian joins us with some healthy habits to help you jumpstart 2026. She explains why we should all be rethinking those detox diets.
Ah, okay. Also, Cook County is seeing a huge spike in flu cases. A doctor is going to be here to break down why this new variant is getting everybody sick.
Taking a live look outside, winter is definitely here. Get ready for more cold and more snow. But luckily, Caitlin Cody, good morning to you. We're not seeing that wind, hopefully, that we saw yesterday.
The wind has died down, yes. And this morning, it's mostly dry. I'm seeing a touch of blue in DeKalb County, but we have the chance for snow returning later on today. It is going to be better than yesterday to start off, if you haven't left the house yet. Behind me, you can see that we do have the breaks in the clouds and that chance for snow From DeKalb County to northern LaSalle County, you might see a little bit of light snow even in southern portions of McHenry County. But checking in on the temperature, right now it's only 10 at O'Hare. It's going to be another cold day. 11 at the lakefront and Midway. 9 in DeKalb, 10 in Morris. Temperatures in northwest Indiana right around 10 to 12 degrees. But the feel like temperature is below zero. Unfortunately, it feels like 4 degrees below zero at O'Hare, as well as Aurora. Feeling like 1 at the lakefront. So a cold start. We'll take a look at your full forecast, including your New Year's Eve and New Year's Day forecast ahead.
Thank you, Caitlin. Appreciate it. We are approaching the end of the year, and Chicago is going to be in the national spotlight when ringing in 2026.
Roseanne has more on an event that draws one of the city's largest crowds of the year. Good morning, Roseanne.
That's right. So many people will be headed here to the riverfront, and this is the main stage already set up this morning in preparation for the big night. Now we have a special guest. Jason Lesnevich is with Choose Chicago, and he's joining us this morning to tell us a little more about this event and so many others going on for New Year's Eve.
Yes, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
Oh, great to be here. Except for the weather. Boy, I wish we could get a few more degrees out of this. But tell us about the lineup. And for the first time, we're a part of the national broadcast, so it's kind of a big deal. Tell us about it.
Yes, first time ever. We're part of Dick Clark's New Year's Rocking Eve. It's a great lineup. The gates will open at 5 p.m. Tomorrow. There'll be a gate at Lake Street and a gate at Wells. And that is the footprint of the event. Although the main stage is here, we do expect people to fill out the entire event space. At 7 p.m., there will be a projection on Art on the Mart, curated by Nick Cave, one of Chicago's great artists, and that will go to 9 p.m. At 9 p.m., we'll start having the music acts, and those are 2 house DJs, DJ Mike P. and DJ Mike Dunn. That'll be followed by Jay Ivey, an award-winning spoken artist and Grammy Award winner, followed by Shamika Copeland, a great blues artist, and then, of course, Chance, our host for the night, Chance the Rapper, will be performing until about 11:50. At 11:50, the drone show starts, and then the countdown on Art on the Mart, and then the fireworks right at midnight after the countdown. And those will be from Orleans Street down to Columbus. All the bridges will be lighting up fireworks and then Chance and DJ Mike P will finish out the night again.
Well, that really is a great full night. We do want to warn people, though, if you come and you get into this area, the footprint you described, if you leave, there's no coming back.
No re-entry. Once you're in, you're in. There will be secured gates at both the gates at Lake and Wells. There will be food trucks here for you to enjoy. We do recommend you come out early if you want a good view of the stage, although there will be big, large LED screens in case you're away from the stage a bit so you can see the performances. So it'll be a great event that you can take in tomorrow evening.
So many things included in that. But if you don't want to commit that much, there are so many other events. Tell us some of the highlights around the city.
Yeah, one of my favorite events is going to be at the observation deck at 360 Chicago. It'll give you a bird's eye view of this event, especially with the fireworks. It'll give you a bird's eye view of the fireworks at Navy Pier. So great event there. Unlimited tilt ride, so if you want to tilt out and be over Chicago at midnight, you can do that as well. Of course, Navy Pier is a great New Year's Eve destination with their fireworks at midnight. Lots of dining options across the pier, the cruises, and parties throughout Navy Pier as well.
Yeah, plenty going on. We do want to let people know. I overheard one of our anchors talking, like a couple of days ago about the bathroom situation in Times Square. People know they're famous for not having them. Not the case here.
No, definitely. We're going to have porta potties for people because we expect people to come out early to fill the space, and we want to give those people an option to have porta potties here, yes.
Okay, Jason, thank you so much for laying it all out. So many activities going on here at the riverfront and throughout Chicago for New Year's Eve. We also want to tell you that our own Anita Blanton and Jake Hamilton are going to be over at Tao nightclub to ring in the new year as well. And we hope you can join us for that and all of those festivities. Now I'm going to toss it back to you guys in the studio.
Roseanne, thank you. Now I'm rethinking some of my New Year's Eve plans.
Exactly.
Alrighty.
I'll be cozy inside watching Jake and Anita.
8:05. All right, this is a story that's just into our newsroom. 3 men are facing felony charges after they were caught on camera burglarizing a freight train in Chicago. It happened in Englewood the morning of December 19th. A third person was caught speeding away in a minivan. Freight train thefts have been an issue for police in Chicago and Cook County. We've seen instances of cases stretching back over the past 2 years.
A man is now facing multiple felonies after a crash that left 2 Chicago police officers hurt. This story was breaking kind of right at this time yesterday. Now we've learned that 18-year-old Orlando Matos III has been charged with 2 counts of felony aggravated reckless driving. Chicago police say the officers were headed southbound on Racine in Wrigleyville when Matos blew right through a stop sign. They say the car he was in was stolen.
St. Sabina is enforcing bag checks after a shooting sent 3 people to the hospital. It happened outside the Auburn Gresham Church during an adult basketball game on Sunday. Chicago police say it started with an argument inside the gym. When everyone went outside, someone pulled a gun, shot into the crowd, and hit 3 men. Father Michael Flager says he hopes someone knows something and turns the shooter in.
I don't like anybody having to go to jail or prison. But let me tell you something. When you shoot somebody, you need to go to jail. So, you know, I'm just hoping that that people turn into people who did it. I know the police have excellent video. I'm confident that they're going to find out also. But I just know that you're not going to shoot around here and feel like nothing happens.
The church is now suspending this basketball league until further notice.
New this morning, Northwestern reportedly hiring veteran coach Chip Kelly to be the new offensive coordinator. This is according to ESPN. The Raiders hired Kelly back in November, but fired him just 11 games later. Kelly previously coached at Oregon and UCLA. He also coached for the Philadelphia Eagles and the San Francisco 49ers.
The Chicago Board of Education decided to raise property taxes after a secretive meeting that's raising big questions. The move raises property taxes by $25 million, the maximum amount allowed under state law. The school board members in favor hope this and a record amount of surplus money will help balance its budget. Others say it comes at a time where Chicago families are already dealing with high costs.
Today's levy vote is an investment in our children and the future of Chicago Public Schools, and I will always vote to fund our schools.
This is something that, even if it is $16 on my home, it is something that lots of families can't afford, and it just adds to the compounding effect of the large increases in their taxes.
School Board President Sean Hardin says vowed to force the resignation of any board member who leaks information about Monday's meeting.
If it seems like everyone around you is sick, hey, you're not wrong. Not your imagination. Cook County Public Health says it's seen a big spike in flu cases and that the numbers continue to go up. Their data show that ER visits associated with the flu tripled the week before Christmas. This is a problem we're seeing across the country due in part to the new variant H3N2, along with lower vaccination rates.
I do worry that when we see a new variant, it does tend to mean that that has escaped our immunity to some extent.
Health experts say this year, new severe strains tend to be more infectious, and even though the variation isn't included in this season's vaccine formulation, experts are still urging folks to get that flu shot.
It's the flu, it's the cold. Caitlin.
Poor
it's
Caitlin.
What else can we
Caitlin's household has been...
Poor Caitlin's household.
Yeah.
Anthony, how are you feeling, by the way?
I'm feeling, knock on wood, I'm feeling okay. We had
Anthony,
one guest that was staying with us test positive for influenza A.
Yeah.
And I think because we got the vaccine, we might be
good.
Protected
Knock on all the wood.
If not, then I guess I'm getting sick.
No.
Oh, goodness gracious. I know. We will get through this. We will get through this. Okay, talking about the forecast. It is cold this morning. Temperatures are ranging from about 5 to 15 degrees. So behind me, you can see it's 9 in DeKalb, 8 in Woodstock, 11 at the Lakefront and Midway, 12 in Gary, 11 in Merrillville. These temperatures are chilly, but the wind has died down, thank goodness. We're going to have increased cloud cover and the chance for snow return today, though. So let's take you through on our futurecast. By lunchtime, we're right around 20 degrees. Highs staying in the 20s. The clouds, as mentioned, building, 345. seeing mostly cloudy skies and then that chance for some light snow. This is the evening, 7:15, seeing the light snow showers with temperatures in the mid-20s. And then tonight, we're going to dry out, especially after about 9 o'clock. But then tomorrow, we have the chance for snow returning as temperatures push to the low 30s. We're going to see highs finally perhaps cracking at freezing. And then as we work our way through the evening, 4:45, still holding on to a little bit of light snow. So today we expect under an inch of accumulation. Tomorrow we could see around 1 to 2 inches of snowfall. And then temperatures are going to get cold for New Year's Eve night, getting down to about 10. Around midnight, I expect the teens. Back to you.
Thank you, Caitlin. You know the saying, new year, new me. A lot of us are looking to kickstart healthy habits in 2026. A dietitian walks us through the right ways to detox.
Okay.
I'm excited for this.
I am too, for sure. Also, we got more weather coverage next. But first, here's a quick look at your 7-day forecast as we head to break. Stay with us.
What are you girls doing?
We're doing all the heating, plumbing, and electric around here.
All right, I know you girls know stuff, but let's leave it to our trusted local experts. Let's call Four Seasons.
It's about time we figured it out.
Whether it's heating, cooling, plumbing, electric, air duct cleaning, or generators, you can always trust Four Seasons.
For all the right reasons, call 866-4 Seasons.
Is it at work?
Welcome back. New this morning, Israel is putting an end to several humanitarian organizations working in Gaza. Israel claims groups like Doctors Without Borders are not meeting new vetting rules. It says Doctors Without Borders did not clarify what staffers Israel claims cooperated with Hamas. Doctors Without Borders hasn't commented. Other aid groups say Israel's rules are just arbitrary.
Also new this morning, a Los Angeles Superior Court judge has blocked the release of Rob and Michelle Reiner's autopsy reports. This is according to the LA Times. The police department requested the order to prevent info from leaking to the public. Prosecutors claim that Reiner's 32-year-old son, Nick, stabbed his parents fatally at their home earlier this month, and he is expected to enter a plea on January 7th. He could face life in prison or even the death penalty if convicted.
President Trump is ramping up pressure on Venezuela, ordering a strike along the shoreline for the first time. The president says the strike destroyed a dock where he claims boats were being loaded up with drugs. This comes a day after the military says it attacked a boat accused of smuggling drugs in the eastern Pacific Ocean. The strike killed 2 people on board.
The National Weather Service confirms 3 tornadoes hit central Illinois during Sunday's severe weather outbreak. A single EF2 tornado tore through Christian, Macon, and Piatt counties, traveling nearly 24 miles total. An EF1 touched down in Tazewell County. That's about 3 miles east of Pekin. And an EF0 touched down just southeast of the town of Redmond. Thankfully, nobody was hurt, but boy, what a wild day of weather for late December.
No kidding. It's like, I mean, it's like a tornado in the weather world, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we're getting whiplash, Caitlin Cody.
And the temperature difference. I mean, yesterday we were talking about a 30-degree temperature drop compared to the day before. So we had that very mild weather. Yesterday we were hit with the gusty winds, the cold temperatures. This morning, it's absolutely cold, don't get me wrong, but we have some improvement, including some sunshine this morning, and at least we don't have much for snowfall to start off the day. DeKalb County, we're seeing a touch of blue on radar, but most of us are dry. This afternoon, though, we do have the chance for snow returning. So let's talk first about the temperature. It's 11 degrees at the lakefront and Midway, 10 in Chicago Heights, as well as O'Hare and Aurora, 9 in DeKalb. The wind chill is below 0 for western areas, single digits for most. So here's our next 12 hours with that wind chill in mind, because this is what's really important when it comes to the temperature. How you should dress and prepare is for the teens today. So even though temperatures are going to be in the 20s, you can see by this evening, it's going to feel like the mid-teens. And also take note, temperatures are increasing as we get into the evening hours. And tonight, that's going to continue. Tomorrow, we're going to be in the low 30s. So our futurecast. That snowfall that I was talking about this afternoon into this evening, we do have the chance for some light snow. Minor accumulation up to an inch possible, most under an inch of snow. And then tonight we're going to be drying out. Those temperatures are rising. And then tomorrow the chance for snow is back. And tomorrow we could see 1 to 2 inches of snowfall accumulation. Again, though, it's out of here by midnight. So your New Year's Eve celebrations, you might see some light snow around. After midnight, drier skies will return. And temperatures, they're going to be chilly. So if you're thinking about what you need to wear at midnight, the actual temperature in the teens lows Wednesday night, though, are getting down to about 10. We'll take a look at that full 7-day forecast coming up.
All right, thank you, Caitlin. After indulging during the holidays, a lot of us are looking to detox. But do they really work? Well, Kristen Gustashaw is an advanced practice dietitian at Rush University Medical Center. She's here to unpack the science behind this trend. Good morning to you, Kristen.
Good morning, everyone. How are you?
Good.
Yes, so a lot of people at this time of year are trying to figure out how to undo their mishaps over the last year. And really, our body is our best weapon. It is a natural detoxifier. Our liver is a detoxifier. A lot of people think about our liver and detox, but our kidneys are our filtration plant. Our lungs are our air purifiers. Our digestive system is really our waste filtration system. So really relying on the organs that we have, our skin is the barrier to our environment. We want to treat it well. And most of us shame ourselves too much, too long. And really, if we just got back to the bare bones of what does our body need? Our body needs hydration. It needs fuel. And that's really the basics. We need physical activity. Those 3 things are what our bodies needs. And this has turned into trillions of dollars of industry and how to find loopholes or quick fixes. And really, it comes down to a few basics. Number 1, I always start with stay hydrated. The majority of us by afternoon are walking around like little raisins. If you just stay hydrated, I guarantee within the next week, you're going to feel detoxed. Water itself is a natural detoxifier. It helps our kidneys stay clean. It helps our blood supply get to our skin, keeps our organs. It's almost like the oil in a car. It just keeps everything lubricated and really even keeps your brain at its peak performance. Eating rich, nutrient-dense produce. Everybody starts to pick apart what antioxidant this has, or is it zeaxanthin or lutein? And really, our bodies aren't created to be only eating in specific nutrients. Nature has a beautiful way of just creating an environment of anti-inflammatory, antioxidants, detoxing. When we look at the really dark, rich vegetables, our cruciferous vegetables, kale, spinach. I always say if you had to make friends with somebody on the playground, make it with spinach, because spinach is such a versatile food. You can put it in almost anything, and in itself has natural detox properties. But don't pick the hardest ones to add to your diet. You know, citrus. If you like citrus, start with citrus. If you like onions, garlic, those are really all potent antioxidants and anti-detoxers. Ginger. You know, if this year, maybe it's just that you're going to try some new foods, try some new flavors. If you're a little intimidated by it, I always suggest, you know, maybe going to a smoothie shop that's really perfected it and find the flavors that you like. You know, a lot of pre-made things cost a lot of money. They have a lot of additives, a lot of things you don't need, when really if you just simplified it to a couple natural ingredients, spinach almost blends and hides in anywhere. So if you want to eat spinach in a salad, if you want to blend it into a puree, you can almost sneak it in anywhere. It's this beautiful rich green color. But kale, turnip greens, mustard greens, all the dark green leafies. I always laugh about kale. You know, 30 years ago, it was something you decorated a salad bar with, and now there's sometimes kale shortages. These are our natural detoxifiers that are always around. But if you're going to juice, try to use the whole fruit. You really lose most of the medicinal properties of our produce if you just get the juice extract from it. So try to, you know, chop it up fine, and then blend it in a food processor so you're getting all those nutrients.
Okay, so maybe that
turn things
juice
into
cleanse is
salads,
not what you need.
dressings and things if you don't like eating them naturally.
Okay, sounds good. Kristen,
Those are
thank
my
you
top
so much.
hits.
I appreciate it. And you really laid it out for us, which is nice to have it kind of in layman's terms, because dieting gets complicated. We appreciate your time. We will definitely have you back in the new year, because we know that healthy dieting doesn't just start when the year changes. It should happen throughout the year. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks for having me.
All right, over the holidays, it's easy to miss the big stories. Well, luckily, our friends at Block Club Chicago are here to catch you up. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
It's
All right, the holidays are a great time to unplug, but it's time to plug back in a little bit with our friends at Block Club Chicago, joining us now to break down some of the big headlines from 2025 and some things you may have missed. And we are joined this morning by John Hansen with Block Club Chicago to kind of run us through. You guys have posted a link with your top 10 stories that were clicked on in 2025. You've got some highlights from that list to share this morning. What were people clicking on, John?
Well, obviously, Anthony, the big story was what was happening in Chicago with Border Patrol and ICE agents. And we had a ton of stories that we covered over the Operation Midway Blitz and really all year long. You guys doing a great job of it, too. And people really obviously engaged. So those were the big stories. But I wanted to highlight some of like the neighborhood stories that made the list, including, I think, one of our favorite ones was about a guy named Kenny Smith who lives on the south side, and he sells watermelons every Friday afternoon in the summer at 83rd and Stony Island. And this was one of our most popular stories of the year because it's exactly our bread and butter, like what is happening in the neighborhoods that has people talking. So this guy, the watermelon man, you can see him cutting up one every year. Starting around Mother's Day weekend, he drives every single week down to farms that he knows in Florida, in Georgia, in Mississippi, and Missouri, and he knows how to pick out the sweetest watermelons. He doesn't have a huge social media following. He doesn't have a brick and mortar. He literally sets up shop every Friday afternoon, and the locals in the area, the chefs in the area, they know to come to him for the sweetest watermelons in town. I just thought it was a sweet story. Atavia Reed wrote it, and it blew up on our site.
I love that, too. I'm curious about his gas bill getting down to all those farms. I understand people were very interested in the fact that Lake Michigan and the levels of the water have been changing, too. That got a lot of traction for you guys.
Our number 4 story of the year was people curious about the ecosystem. And this story came about because people at the beaches, after years of noticing the water eroding their beaches, noticed that the lake had really retreated this summer. And it's true. It's down 4 feet as of last time when we published the story in the summer. And there's a lot of reasons that go into it. The scientific reasons are mind-boggling how the ecosystem all works. But basically, we haven't had as much snow the last couple of winters. Maybe this year we're off to a snowy start. It'll change. But when you have less snow, that means less melt. That leads to less water levels. Nothing to be alarmed about, but a lot of folks that have been spending money to try and fortify their beaches over the last few years got a brief reprieve this year. And we'll see if next year, if the water goes up again because of the heavy snowfall we had in November and December, or where we are. But people love tracking the level of the lake. It's our obviously beautiful beaches, and we want to keep them pristine.
Yeah, I remember a few years back, erosion was the huge problem with the lake levels high. One story that I have been personally so curious about, because I remember being, when I was street reporting, going down to that former U.S. Steel sites on the southeast side of the city. It's an amazing parcel of land. There's that legendary ore wall that's like a half-mile long. There has been some activity with regard to actually making this space more usable for folks. Get us updated here.
Yeah, look at this climbing wall that they made out of the old steel site. What a great repurposing of what was known as a pollutant and an eyesore on the city's lakeshore for so many years. Steelworkers Park, which pays homage to the steelworkers who lived, worked, and some passed away there. And it's, look at that parcel of land right on the lakefront. It's used right now. The neighbors love it. It's a little inaccessible. It's maybe hard to get to, and they want some more amenities. So a lot of the big parks in our city have park advisory councils. There you can see them meeting and some neighbors coming forward with just some ideas. What do they want to see? Some of the ideas, very simple. I want public bathrooms. That makes sense, right? A couple other things, maybe some fishing spots off the lake or more accessibility to the water itself. This is just one example of a real neighborhood story that we cover. We were at the park council meeting. We heard what people wanted to have done. Then it goes to the park district and they try and take those ideas and turn them into fruition. And it's a gorgeous spot, and hopefully more and more Chicagoans will be able to enjoy it soon with some new amenities.
Yeah, I can't wait to see what that evolves into. John Hanson, thank you so much. Appreciate your time, sir.
Happy New Year, buddy.
All right, Happy New Year to you, too. And you can check out all those stories. I really encourage people to check out that top 10 list, blockclubchicago.com. All right, the Adler Planetarium getting ready to take rock fans. Old school classic rock fans of the dark side of the moon. This is a cool happening there. We're going to talk about their special Pink Floyd show with some out-of-this-world details coming up. Caitlin,
it's cold out there. Yeah,
yeah,
it's cold. We have a little bit of sunshine, though, this morning, which is great. And the winds, they've died down. Temperatures, though, they're around 10 currently. Highs in the 20s. We have a few rounds of snow before we get to the new year. A full check of your forecast is ahead. Stay with us.
Are you ready to ring in?
All right, all of Chicago's New Year's Eve festivities bring huge crowds downtown each year.
But this year, the city will be spotlighted as part of a national broadcast. Roseanne has more on how the city's preparing.
Yes.
Good morning, Roseanne.
Good morning. Well, they have big plans and they've been preparing for days. Of course, security top of mind, but also a good party. And the stage is set for that here along the riverfront here. From Franklin to Wells, you can stake out a spot starting at 5 p.m. on New Year's Eve. But once you're in, you're in. There's no re-entry if you leave this area. Unlike Times Square, there are porta potties. And this is a first for the city. The first time they're part of that national broadcast, the Dick Clark's New Year's Rockin' Eve. Chicago taking part in Chance the Rapper as well, one of the hosts of the show. There are parties all over town, but the biggest, again, right here along the river. We talked to Jason Lesnevich with Choose Chicago about the exciting lineup.
Starting at 7 p.m., there will be a projection on Art on the Mart, curated by artist Nick Cave. That'll go till 9 p.m. Starting at 9 is our live music acts. We have DJ Mike P, DJ Mike Dunn, and then we're Jay Ivy, Shamika Copeland, and then Chance the Rapper's performance to finish out the night. At 11:50, there will be a drone show right here on the event space, and then the countdown on Art on the Mart to celebrate New Year's Eve, and then right at midnight, the fireworks on the bridges from Orleans Street all the way down to Columbus.
And this is a first that we're going to be in the national spotlight.
Yeah, we'll be on the national spotlight starting at 11 p.m. all the way until our countdown and fireworks at midnight.
So lots of fun planned. This stage will be rocking. The city will be rocking because, you know, this may be the biggest party in town, but it's not the only party in town. There are a lot of events, and we'll get more into some of those. But we want to invite you to join Anita Blanton and Jake Hamilton because they're going to be at Tao Chicago nightclub starting at 10 p.m. and they are going to ring in the new year as well. So we hope you can join us. It is probably the warmest place, I think, in front of the television. That's my plan. But the Hardy folks will be out here on the streets of Chicago, and hopefully it goes smoothly. Back to you now in the studio.
Roseanne, I'm right with you. I'll be
You know
cozy
what,
inside.
guys? It's going to be warm in Tao, Chicago. So
Yeah,
why
that's
don't we
right.
all just go,
Go
in
there.
Yeah, sweaty bodies.
Yes, indeed. All right, 8:34, some other news to get to this morning. A man now facing multiple felony charges after a crash that left 2 Chicago police officers hurt.
18-year-old Orlando Matos III is charged with 2 counts of felony aggravated reckless driving. CPD says the officers were driving south on Racine in Wrigleyville when the Matos ran a stop sign Monday morning. They say the car he was in was stolen.
St. Sabina is enforcing bag checks after a shooting sent 3 people to the hospital. It happened outside the Auburn Gresham Church during an adult basketball game on Sunday. Chicago police say it started with an argument inside the gym. Then when everyone was outside, someone pulled a gun, shot into the crowd, hit 3 men. So now the church is suspending the adult basketball league until further notice.
The National Weather Service confirms 3 tornadoes hit central Illinois during Sunday's severe weather outbreak. A single EF2 tornado tore through Christian, Macon, and Piatt counties, traveling nearly 24 miles total. An EF1 touched down in Tazewell County, about 3 miles east of Pekin. And an EF0 touched down just southeast of Redmond. Thankfully, no one was hurt. And just into the newsroom, 3 men are facing felony charges after they were caught on camera burglarizing a freight train in Chicago. It happened in Englewood the morning of December 19th. A 3rd person was caught speeding away in a minivan. Freight train thefts have been an issue for police in Chicago and Cook County. We've seen instances of cases stretching back over the past 2 years. The Chicago Board of Education decides to raise property taxes after a secret meeting that's raising big questions. The move raises property taxes by $25 million, the maximum amount allowed under state law. The school board members in favor hope this and a record amount of surplus money will help balance its budget. Others say it comes at a time where Chicago families are already dealing with high costs.
Today's levy vote is an investment in our children and the future of Chicago public schools, and I will always vote to fund our schools.
This is something that, even if it is $16 on my home, it is something that lots of families can't afford, and it just adds to the compounding effect of the large increases in their taxes.
School board president Sean Hardin has vowed to force the resignation of any board member who leaks information about Monday's meeting.
All right, if it seems like everyone around you is sick these days, you are not wrong. Cook County Public Health says it has seen a big spike in flu cases, and the numbers continue to rise here. Its data show that ER visits associated with the flu tripled the week before Christmas. And it is a problem not just here locally, but across the country. And this is due in part to the new variant. It's called H3N2, along with lower vaccination rates.
I do worry that when we see a new variant, it does tend to mean that that has escaped our immunity to some extent.
Health experts say this new severe strain tends to be more infectious. And even though the variation isn't included in this season's vaccine formulation, experts are still urging folks to get that vaccine.
8:38. You know, guys, I hate to be the negative one, but just a little bit of snow would have been perfect during Christmas.
Oh, yeah.
It's not enough to cause any trouble. It's, enough to be Christmas, winter-like.
Yeah.
But
it did look like
it for New Year.
I'm with you. It looked like a snow globe yesterday.
Yeah.
It was beautiful after the morning commute.
Yeah, okay, the wind was not good.
The wind was not great, yeah. But we do have a few more rounds of snow expected before we even get into the new year, and it doesn't take much for slick roads to develop. So keep that in mind this afternoon and this evening, and then again tomorrow. So talking about the weather, this morning we do have sunshine, but the clouds are going to be building this afternoon, and it's going to bring us our first round of some light snow. Under an inch expected for most, but tomorrow we could see a few inches of snowfall, and it's going to be cold on New Year's Eve. Temperatures are going to be around the teens when we hit midnight and down to about 10 as our overnight low into Thursday morning. Temperatures outside right now, though, sitting at 10 degrees at O'Hare. So it's chilly this morning, 12 at the lakefront, 11 at Midway. Highs today are going to be in the mid-20s. Where we should be is the low 30s, so we're about 10 degrees below normal in most spots for today. Again, we have the chance for some light snow later on. Tonight, temperatures are actually going to be climbing, not dropping. So it's going to be a mild night compared to today. And then tomorrow, highs back to the low 30s. So hopefully we can hit that freezing mark. Some of us pushing to about 33 degrees with that chance for snow around, especially in the afternoon and evening. 7-day forecast. We're drying out Wednesday night. So Wednesday night is New Year's Eve. We have the chance for some light snow until about midnight. And then Thursday is going to be dry but colder with a high of only 23. 27 expected as we end the week Friday. And then this weekend, it's looking quiet with highs in the upper 20s Saturday, Sunday around 34. And then we start off next week with 37 degrees. Back to you.
Thank you, Caitlin. All right, some of you may be looking to get back into the dating pool in the new year. Well, at 9, we explore how dating app fatigue is changing the way people meet. Maybe back to old school ways.
Yeah.
First and North. This show's all about
The Adler Planetarium is taking visitors to the dark side of the moon, figuratively speaking. They're celebrating the iconic Pink Floyd album with an immersive surround sound treat you're going to have to see for yourself. Mike Smale is the Adler Senior Director of Theaters and Visualization. Mike, thank you for joining us. First of all, before we even get into the album, let's talk about what is true and not true about there being a dark side of the moon. Technically, always there is a dark side of the moon, but there's also the far side of the moon, which we don't get to see, right?
That is absolutely correct. The far side, just a fun little astronomical coincidence between the Earth and the moon's rotation. We always see the same side of the moon facing towards us here on the Earth.
All right, let's talk a little bit about this incredible video that you guys have put together to the music of The Dark Side of the Moon, which came out in 1973. And you're playing the entire album, right?
That's correct. So it's the entire album. It's a 43-minute runtime, so it's a little bit longer than our usual Sky shows, so you get a little something extra for your money. You can see videos from the show here. We actually ran this show back in 2023 and 2024. This is the first officially sort of sanctioned show. This was produced by the band, by Pink Floyd, for the 50th anniversary of the record. It's played in planetariums all over the globe, and we're pretty excited to be able to bring it back for our audiences. It was wildly popular when we ran it before, and we're expecting more of the same.
Yeah, so it's interspersed between some astronomical things and some concert footage. Would that be correct?
So it's entirely, the visuals are entirely astronomical footage, as a matter of fact. That's really what the band wanted. They wanted, the Earth from space, and there's a nice scientific through line to the visuals, sort of telling a story of human exploration, starting with the Apollo missions back in the 60s and 70s, the moon landings, then moving up to sort of the space station, present day, and a little bit of a maybe hypothetical future with where humans have explored Mars. So there's a nice astronomical tie into the visuals as well.
One of the trademarks of that album, Mike, is the song Money, which opens up with the cash register sound. What are we seeing astronomically as those cash registers are going before the don't?
So that one starts, that's the track that kicks off on a space station. It's not necessarily the International Space Station, but you see a little bit of the record spinning in the center of the dome, and then that beat kicks in, and you start drifting through this space station. And on the computer monitors in the space station, you actually see some footage from the original music video for Money. So a nice little kind of extra treat to look out for there.
Your area of expertise is running theaters and visualizations. How does this 43-minute show appeal to you and your eye?
Oh, honestly, it's phenomenally well done. It's produced. So we produce our own shows here at the Adler. We think we do a pretty good job. We license them to planetariums all around the world. This show was made by a different production house, NSC Creative in Leicester in the UK, but they're one of the best people in the world at doing this. They've put together, it's a treat for the eyes to accompany the treat for the ears.
Now, I noticed that at least initially all of the shows are in the afternoon. Do you have any plans to maybe show this in the evening, or is it always going to be a matinee?
No, we will. So, our normal sort of daytime hours are 9 to 4, and so we're showing it sort of at the end of the day. You saw earlier 3:15 every day. You'll be able to see it. However, Wednesdays we're open Wednesday nights. We're open from 4 p.m. to 10 p.m. on Wednesday nights. So if you come in a Wednesday night, it will also be the last show of the evening on Wednesday nights, running around 9:15, and we'll actually have it running in both of our theaters on Wednesday nights. Based on previous experience running the show, we're expecting some busier crowds, some more people turning out for those evening screenings.
And very quickly, buy tickets in advance, right?
Yes, adlerplanetarium.org. You can buy your tickets in advance, make your game plan for the day, which exhibits you want to see, what shows you want to see. But yes, all tickets must be purchased in advance of visit.
All right, Mike Smale, thanks for joining us there from Adler Planetarium. And I'm sure you're going to have a lot of folks enjoying that show there and some of the music of Pink Floyd. All right, let's get it over to Caitlin Cody. It was kind of fun seeing some of the live shots there of the planetarium. A little bit of sunshine out there.
I love it. Yes, a little bit of sunshine this morning. Temperatures, though, as you know, Mike, they're cold. Right now, you are stepping out the door, too. Temperatures around 10 degrees. 12 at the lakefront, feeling even worse. Single digits are expected to be that wind chill this morning, so make sure you dress warm. It's 11 in DeKalb, 12 in Morris, as well as in Kankakee, 12 in Gary, 12 at Merrillville. Let's talk about that wind chill and take you through the day, because you can see at lunchtime, we still feel like we could be in the single digits, around 8 degrees for that feel-like temperature. And then as our actual high pushes into the 20s, it's going to feel like we could be around 15, 16 degrees. We have the chance for a little bit of light snow this afternoon and this evening. Temperatures tonight, though, not bad. In fact, we're going in the opposite direction, warming up as we head on into your Wednesday. This is Wednesday afternoon, 3 p.m., and temperatures feel like we could be in the upper teens. Actual temperatures are going to be in the low 30s. Here's your future cast to show that light snow on the way later on today, as mentioned, on until about 9 or 10. We could see an inch, most of us under an inch of accumulation. Tomorrow, same thing, chance for snow in the afternoon. We could see 1 to 2 inches with that round before things do dry out as we head into the new year. It is going to be a cold Thursday, so if you have plans on New Year's Day, make sure you dress warm. I'll show you that full 7-day forecast coming up. Stay with us.
Sponsored by Four Seasons, your trusted.
Welcome back. The Department of Health and Human Services plans to revamp the entire childhood vaccine schedule in 2026. Says that will result in fewer shots. The Advisory Committee on Childhood Vaccines met to discuss these changes on Monday. And during that meeting, CDC officials emphasized the importance of immunizations in children.
The last basically 30-year period from 1994 to 2023, which CDC estimated that vaccination of children born during that time prevented more than 500 million illnesses, avoided more than 1 million deaths.
Yeah, it stresses me out to even see that kid coughing, right? The exact changes have not been announced. That is expected to come out sometime in the new year.
Have you ever heard someone tell you that they know the weather is changing because they feel it in their bones? Well, they're not making that up. Health professionals call it the pain index. High or low barometric pressure can cause tissues around your joints to expand, causing pain. Changes in pressure can also lead to migraines and fatigue, but there are some things you could do to manage it.
Think about mobilization, anti-inflammatories, heat, changing your external clothing with warm packs, trying home remedies like ointments that can help with inflammation, anti-inflammatory foods. All these things can help and prevent an actual flare.
Changes in pressure can also impact your inner ear and make you nauseous. Okay, also, I actually have some ear pain whenever I feel like it rains. And that's crazy to say. I always thought it was crazy, but here we go. It is proven. Jake, do you have any ailments that we need to go through?
Oh, we don't have enough time left on this show. I sneezed the other day and my back hurt.
Oh, man.
All right, guys, coming
Aging.
up, yeah.
It's
What
tough.
were your favorite movies of the year? I'm going to count down my favorites, and there are some surprises on the list. Find out if your favorites made the list coming up. This show's on.
Okay, welcome back. In the last hour, Jake Hamilton, our own Jake Hamilton, kicked off his list of the top 10 best movies of 2025.
And I told you it was nice to see some of these movies that maybe aren't like so much in the spotlight, and you can kind of find out about through you.
Yeah, you know, here's the deal: is that my argument is always like, whether you agree with the list or not, if the list helps you maybe discover a movie you haven't heard of,
There you
then
go.
that's a win, right?
Yeah, that is.
Yeah, so I always say that these aren't the best movies of the year. They're just my favorites. In the last hour, I revealed numbers 10, 9, and 8. And now we're going to continue my list of the top 10 films of the year with number 7.
This is rough work, gentlemen. Not just on the body. We just cut down trees that have been here for 500 years. Upsets a man's soul whether he recognizes it or not.
Coming in at number 7, Train Dreams, a sort of lost American myth about a logger and a railroad worker in the changing American landscape in the 20th century. It's poetic and kind of quietly devastating. Train Dreams says more in glances and in landscapes than most movies manage with entire monologues. It turns an ordinary life into something haunting, beautiful, and profound. Train Dreams, streaming now on Netflix.
It's only a matter of time before I'm staring at you from the cover of a Wheaties box.
Coming at number 6, Marty Supreme. It would be kind of unfair to just call this movie the Timothée Chalamet ping pong movie. It's really much more than that. It's a movie about wanting to achieve something and the depths you'll go to, the monster you will allow yourself to become to make sure you achieve that dream. Marty Supreme weaponizes panic. It moves with the speed of an anxiety attack. It's frenetic, it's overwhelming, it's relentless, it's chaos with a purpose. Marty Supreme now playing in theaters. Coming in at number 5, Surat. A Spanish thriller, Surat follows a man looking for his missing daughter, who he's heard might be at a rave in the middle of the Moroccan desert. He hears this from some ravers, that there actually might be a different rave deeper in the desert, so he decides to follow them. And what follows is the hell that descends upon all of them during their journey deeper and deeper to find this rave in the desert. Surat feels like you're descending into hell in real time. It's relentless, it's disorienting, and it's soaked in dread. Surat is now available on video on demand. So we are now up to number 5. In the next hour, we're going to reveal the top 4 favorites. As always, to see the entire list, you can follow me on Instagram. You go to fox32chicago.com. I'm on Instagram at Jake's Takes. And be sure to let me know what your favorite movies of the year are.
I'm loving this.
I am too. Those three were powerful.
Yes. There's a couple of them can see it at home.
Yes, exactly. Well,
right in my wheelhouse.
A majority of all my top 4 you can see at home.
Amazing.
Boom.
Okay.
Boom.
Jake,
I got you.
I love it.
I got you guys.
Thank
all right.
you,
See you in the next hour. You guys
We'll
are
be
doing
back
great, by the way.
right after this. Thank you.
At Postman Law, we built a
Welcome back to Good Day Chicago, live look outside. We'll get to those freezing temperatures in just a moment, but first we're going to take a look at some of the stories we have for you this morning.
Chicago is getting ready to ring in the new year. We'll show you what the city is doing to keep celebrations safe as we welcome in 2026.
That looks so cool over the river. Right. Wow. Plus, it looks like property taxes will be going up after all. We'll break down the latest vote by the Chicago Board of Education.
And speaking of finances, we're going to be speaking with the Illinois Comptroller about how you can tackle some of those financial goals going into the new year.
We need that.
Yes, but for now, I'm going to take another live look outside. Checking in with Caitlin for a look at this frigid forecast. I got here at 4:30 this morning. Doesn't look like the number's gone up at all.
I had to take the garbage out this morning at dark 30, as Kaplan says. And it was so cold.
Yeah, it was.
An adventure.
Yes, an adventure, indeed. Temperatures outside right now feel like we could be in the single digits. So it is cold, but we do have some sunshine. Currently, it's 12 at the lakefront and O'Hare, as well as Midway. 14 in Joliet, as well as Gary. 15 at LaSalle. Here is your futurecast, because we have the chance for snow today. Now, it is going to be light, but this afternoon into this evening, we have the potential for some snow to fall. Temperature-wise, though, highs today only in the 20s, so it's going to be cold all day long, feeling like we could be in the teens when our high hits that mid-20-degree range. Here's that snow that I was just talking about, 7:15, and it's coming down. Most of us seeing under an inch of accumulation. As we head into tonight, temperatures are going in the opposite direction. We're warming up. The start of the day tomorrow, 11:30, and we're already in the 30s. We have the potential for snow again Wednesday afternoon into Wednesday evening. Tomorrow, of course, New Year's Eve. It's going to be cold. Temperatures dropping down to the teens by midnight, lows around 10. As we work our way into New Year's Day, it looks nice, but it is going to be a chilly one yet again. Temperatures dropping back down to the 20s. Here's your 7-day forecast. 23 as our high on Thursday, Friday around 27. Upper 20s, flirting with 30 on Saturday, Sunday around 34, and then we start off next week at 37 degrees. So today it is going to be cold. We have improved, though, because the wind isn't as strong. We could see winds around 15 to 20 miles per hour. And the snow isn't falling this morning. In fact, we have the sunshine. Enjoy it, though, because the clouds are building with that chance for snow later on. Back to you.
Thank you, Caitlin.
Well, we are approaching the end of the year, and Chicago is going to be in the national spotlight when we ring in 2026.
Roseanne has more on an event that draws one of the city's largest crowds of the year. Roseanne, you're there ahead of that crowd.
Yes, I am. But the stage is set for a big party in Chicago come New Year's Eve. That's right. Huge crowds are expected to gather all along the river right here on Wacker Drive for the big party. It kicks off with a special projection on the Merchandise Mart at 7 p.m. Performances beginning at 9 on the main stage include DJ Mike Dunn, blues singer Shamika Copeland, and Chance the Rapper ringing in the new year. Fireworks will light up the river, both near the Art on the Mart and Navy Pier. And while it may be the biggest party in town, there will be parties all over town.
One of my favorite events is going to be at the observation deck at 360 Chicago. It'll give you a bird's eye view of this event, especially with the fireworks. It'll give you a bird's eye view of the fireworks at Navy Pier. So great event there. Unlimited tilt ride. So if you want to tilt out and be over Chicago at midnight, you can do that as well. Of course, Navy Pier is a great New Year's Eve destination with their fireworks at midnight. Lots of dining options across the pier, the cruises, and parties throughout Navy Pier as well.
Okay, and another big party we want to invite you to is over at Tao Chicago nightclub. Anita and Jake are going to be there starting at 10 o'clock. They also have performances with Bun B, Cupid, Cleo Fox, and more. So that's going to be a big party that you can watch from home, or you can join them over at Tao nightclub. It starts at 10, and so we're looking forward to that. A quick note, though, anybody coming downtown should be warned. If you're under 18, you need to be with a parent because they're going to be enforcing that curfew. But other than that, bring some warm gear. You're going to need it if you're headed out to this party. But they definitely have a lot of fun stuff going on in the city to ring in the new year. Over here on Wacker Drive, Roseanne Tejas, Fox Chicago.
And Roseanne, my recommendation to you is why don't you just stay there right on through tomorrow night? You got that prime real estate.
Save us a spot.
I'm going to put out my folding chair right now.
She's got dibs.
Yep, you got it.
Thanks,
crazy.
The heater as well, too, yeah.
All right, 9:04. This is a story we were following yesterday, but this morning a man is facing multiple charges after a crash left 2 Chicago police officers injured.
18-year-old Orlando is charged with 2 counts of felony aggravated reckless driving. The officers were heading south on Racine in Wrigleyville when the car ran a stop sign. That car was also stolen. St. Sabina will now enforce bag checks after a shooting sent 3 people to the hospital. This all happened on Sunday outside of the Auburn Gresham Church during an adult basketball game. Chicago police said that it all started with an argument inside of the gym when everyone left the gym. That's when someone pulled out a gun and shot into the crowd, hitting 3 men. Father Michael Flager says that he hopes someone knows something and turns the shooter in.
I don't like anybody having to go to jail or prison. Let me tell you something. When you shoot somebody, you need to go to jail. So, you know, I'm just hoping that that people turn into people who did it. I know the police have excellent video. I'm confident that they're going to find out also. But I just know that you're not going to shoot around here and feel like nothing happens.
The church is now suspending the basketball league until further notice.
We're following a developing story this morning. 3 men are facing felony charges after they were caught on camera burglarizing a freight train in Chicago. It happened in Englewood the morning of December 19th. The video captured 2 of the suspects breaking into a shipping container before taking packages and then jumping off the tracks into an alley. A third person was caught speeding away in a minivan. 25-year-old Sean Smythe, 26-year-old Marcus Moore, and 55-year-old Errol Miller. They're all charged with felony burglary. Miller is also charged with aggravated fleeing and eluding.
A luxury retail store in Barrington is missing nearly all of its inventory after it was burglarized. This is Restyle Designers Barrington on South Cook Street. You could see that group of people breaking into the store early Sunday morning and grabbing everything off the shelves. No one has been arrested, and none of the stolen items have been recovered. A former counselor at Hartgrove Hospital in Chicago charged with sexually abusing patients is pleading not guilty. Edmund Rivers is accused of abusing 5 boys between the ages of 7 and 14. Those victims came forward after a lawsuit last year accused several staff members of abusing more than 100 minors. Rivers is due back in court next month. The Chicago Board of Education votes in favor of raising property taxes for Chicagoans following a secret meeting that's raising major concerns.
Board members voted 15-5 to increase property taxes by $25 million. That is the max allowed under Illinois state law. The school district is hoping this and a record amount of surplus money from TIF will help balance its budget. Carlos Rivas, one of the 5 no votes, says it comes at a time that Chicago families are reeling from high costs.
This is something that, even if it is $16 on my home, it is something that lots of families can't afford, and it just adds to the compounding effect of the large increases in their taxes.
Fox Chicago has also learned school board president Sean Harden vowed to force the resignation of any board member who leaked information about the meeting. A Chicago family is demanding answers. They say ICE is ignoring a judge's order and keeping 2 men locked up.
According to the family, on November the 5th, ICE detained 29-year-old Yuri Andres Lopez Jimenez and 33-year-old Edwin Adrian Mendoza Duran during a routine check-in. Family says neither of them were trying to evade authorities. Instead, both were then transferred to a detention facility in Missouri. The family says weeks later, an immigration judge ordered voluntary departure for both of the men, but as of now, they're still in ICE custody. Now, under federal law, ICE is required to carry out a judge's final order unless there's an appeal or an official state that's put in place.
It's complicated because they're supposed to follow due process. If there is a higher court order, they should comply with it. This leaves us in limbo regarding our rights. We know we're immigrants and that we're in a country that is not ours. We're not demanding anything that isn't feasible. We're simply asking that due process be respected and that the court order be followed.
The family is now also considering legal options if ICE continues to delay compliance.
The Department of Homeland Security is ramping up an investigation into child care and other fraud allegations in the state of Minnesota. They're investigating businesses suspected of swindling millions in state taxpayer dollars. The issue gained national attention after a YouTuber claimed to uncover millions of dollars in fraud at 10 Minneapolis child care centers. Governor Tim Walz's office is defending his handling of the scandal, telling Fox News, quote, "The governor has worked for years to crack down on fraud and ask the state legislature for more authority to take aggressive action. He has strengthened oversight."
President Trump is ramping up pressure on Venezuela, going from attacking drug boats to striking the shoreline. President says his administration recently destroyed a dock area where he claims boats were being loaded up with drugs. He's not confirming the exact location. This comes as the U.S. military says it attacked a boat accused of smuggling drugs in the eastern Pacific Ocean yesterday, killing 2 people on board. President Trump also met with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to discuss the next stages of the ceasefire in Gaza. Trump issued a warning against Hamas if the group refuses to disarm. He also had a message for Iran after Israeli officials said they may be rebuilding their missile program.
I hear that Iran is trying to build up again, and if they are, we're going to have to knock them down.
Monday's meeting comes just one day after the president met with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky.
Closer to home now, the National Weather Service confirming 3 tornadoes in central Illinois during Sunday's severe weather outbreak.
An EF2 tornado impacted 3 counties, Christian, Macon, and Piatt. That tornado traveled nearly 24 miles. An EF1 touched down in Tazewell County, that's about 3 miles east of Pekin, and an EF0 touched down just southeast of the town of Redmond. No injuries reported, and there were 5 weak tornadoes reported in Iroquois County and Livingston County, a little bit closer to Chicagoland.
And in the middle of winter, too.
In the middle of winter,
wow. Well, Northwestern is hiring former Oregon and UCLA head coach Chip Kelly as its new offensive coordinator. ESPN was the first to report the move this morning. Kelly was fired as the Raiders offensive coordinator last month. Last year, he was the offensive coordinator for Ohio State's national championship team. Well, an actor who played both the U.S. president and the British prime minister this year is receiving a knighthood from King Charles III.
All right. Idris Elba, best known for his roles in The Wire, Luther, and the Thor movies, was honored as part of the King's New Year's honors list. The Golden Globe-winning actor is being recognized with the honor for his continued work to curb knife crimes in Britain.
How about that? All right, it had to happen at some point, right? Beyonce is now a billionaire.
Another B.
Another B. This marks the 5th time a musician has reached that milestone. She joins Taylor Swift, Bruce Springsteen, Rihanna, and her husband Jay-Z. According to Forbes, Beyonce brought in an estimated $148 million this year before taxes, making her the 3rd highest paid musician in the world. What I'll say is, I thought that Selena Gomez also is a billionaire because of her, you know, cosmetics empire.
Also,
and everything.
Kylie Jenner, I think, is a billionaire as well. I don't
Yeah, but I think this is only musicians.
Musicians. Oh, oops, sorry, guys. It's context clues. All right, if you want a bank like Beyonce...
Otherwise, Brian and I would be.
That's true, guys.
Well on our way.
We'd have to make a few calls, but there are ways to improve your finances in 2026.
I'm going to be speaking with the Illinois Comptroller about how to get those, how to accomplish some of those financial resolutions. That's coming up next. Welcome back. Time now 9:15. Definitely make sure to bundle up. It is 10 degrees outside this morning, and it's not going to get much warmer. Well, as we head into the new year, many people resolve to eat better or exercise more, but your financial health also matters. Illinois Comptroller Susanna Mendoza is encouraging families to make 2026 the year that they get serious about budgeting, saving, and paying down debt. Thanks so much for being here, and happy early new year.
Happy early New Year to you too, Brian. Thanks for having me.
So why is the start of the year just such a good time for people to do that reset for their finances?
Well, we all love to reset, right? Some of us, as you started the segment talking about exercise, is one of those New Year's resolutions that's super popular. Most of us don't keep to it. It's important to eat healthy. It's important to work out, but you need financial fitness as well. And so honestly, that might be a little bit easier to stick to than hitting the gym.
And when it comes to finances, a lot of people can just really feel overwhelmed, especially when it comes to debt. So what would you say is the first step that you recommend people taking when it comes to tackling their debt?
The first step is always to be financially aware. And that means taking a really hard look at your finances. Don't shy away from it. Don't be scared. It is daunting, frankly, scary to review how much you're really spending and how much debt you might actually have. But it's absolutely critical and necessary to give yourself this clear picture of what your situation frankly is, and then get set on putting that plan together to move forward.
And I see in that plan you have that emergency fund there. How should people approach that? What is the right number to hit?
3 to 6 months of expenses saved up. For example, if you are a homeowner, 3 to 6 months worth of mortgage payment. You want to make sure that in the event of, God forbid, a fire or losing your job, that you have some security there financially, right? This emergency fund is break in class in case of emergency only. It's not a savings account to go on vacation. So we should all have it. And I've worked very, very hard to help build up the state's rainy day fund. When I first became your controller, we had $48,000 in it. Wow. That's not enough to cover 30 seconds worth of government operations, but we now have $2.4 billion. So it is possible. Obviously, starting is the most important step. But then as you see your money start to accrue, you'll start to feel less pressure and know that you're in a better situation. God forbid you lose your job or something out of your control were to happen.
Now, when it comes to actually spending your money, what are some of the habits that you see that most often quietly drain people's budgets?
Number one, don't spend more than you have coming in. If you use a credit card, only use a credit card if you could afford to make that purchase in cash. That way you can leverage credit card to protect your purchase, but you should never spend more than you're able to pay in full at the end of the month. Doing other than that is going to have you paying interest payments. Frankly, I'm allergic to them. I think they're terrible, and they eat away at your financial stability. So that is what leads to you being in debt. Don't spend more than you have coming in. Government does a terrible job of following that advice, but it's something I preach all the time, and I live by it as well in my personal life.
Well, how important would you say automation is? Things like direct deposit into your savings for people that are really trying to build up that emergency savings?
You know, this is the most painless way to save, and you likely won't even notice that you missed the money. So people should absolutely take advantage of direct deposit if they have that available to them for their paycheck. It makes no sense to pay fees to have access for your own money. So going to a payday lender to access your check makes no sense. It's why our office actually instituted a Bank Illinois program so that people who don't have a bank can make sure that they have either low entry or no entry fees to establish a banking relationship. But absolutely, if you have the ability to do direct deposit, do it not just for your paycheck, but also to have them automatically direct from your paycheck a little bit into your savings or investment accounts. It totally pays dividends right off the bat.
That is what we like to see is people watching at home are trying to make those 2026 financial resolutions. Thanks so much for your time this morning.
Yeah, and don't forget to check your credit report. You get at least a free glance at it once every 12 months from each of the credit reporting agencies. Work on improving your credit. I'm working on improving the states. We've got 10 credit upgrades, and I'm looking for number 11. So that's my New Year's resolution, and hopefully we hit it.
All right, Susanna, thanks again, and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you, too.
All right, time is out 9:20 this morning. We'll be right back on Good Day Chicago.
I'm Kathy Carlson.
9:22. We have a little bit of sunshine out there, and if all you did is look out the window, you might think, hey, it's not that bad out there. Yeah, it's about 10, 12 degrees outside. Do not kid yourself. It is a cold December day in Chicagoland, but there's a spot where it's almost always sunny and warm, and that is Pasadena. The deadline to complete the Rose Parade floats is 5 tomorrow evening. Mario Ramirez is standing by in Pasadena with more. Mario, thanks for getting up early to join us this morning. And you've got a rose in your hand. You're all ready to go.
I do. Good morning to you, Mike. Listen to this. A fun fact. Some of the largest floats here for the Rose Parade will carry tens of thousands of roses just like this, and they're all equipped with their own vial of water to keep them fresh. Now, we're inside of a warehouse where 16 of the more than 30 floats are made, and every single inch of these floats, this one, the Honda float, has to be covered with natural materials. We're talking coconut shavings. Not sure what this blue part's going to be, but when I say every inch, I mean every inch. This guy here, this racer, he's got to be covered with coconut shavings and lots of glue. Now, there's a rendering here right in front to show you what it looks like, or what it will look like when it's all done. It features their new E-Quad delivery vehicle, a zero-emission electrical cargo vehicle, and Bishop Briggs is actually going to be performing alongside this float with dancers surrounding. Now, take a look, because I mentioned that we're inside this warehouse, and you can see some of the other floats. What's going to be happening today is Judging Day. Well, we first got about 2,000 volunteers that are going to be coming through today, and then judges will vote these entries in 3 big areas: float design, floral presentation, and entertainment value. And then on parade morning, the awards will be announced before the parade even starts, and the floats will be led by banners showing what they've won and which ones impressed the judges the most. So, you know, we talked about how much of these floats is going to be covered. As a whole, they use about 18 million flowers, plus roughly 600 tons of steel and 5,000 gallons of glue to bring this all together. So, Mike, as you can imagine, it smells great in here. It's very vibrant and very colorful. And there's rain in the forecast, but they've got waterproof glue to keep this all together, and they're prepared for these floats to be a little heavier, but rain or shine, the parade is going to go on, and we're waiting for it Thursday morning, New Year's Day. For now, live in Pasadena, Mike, we'll send it back to you.
Mario, a quick question, and if you don't know the answer, make something up. What's the rough approximation of how much money is spent on these floats, just like on average? Do you have any kind of idea?
Ooh. Yeah, I will tell you. Let me get an official answer for you. Stefan, how much on average do these floats cost? Between 50 and up to $350 to 700,000. So we're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow,
cheap.
That is a big floating advertising bill out there. But Mario, it looks good, and I can tell you're like in a refrigerated environment there because of all of that flower stuff. Yeah. Good to see you, and I'm sure it's going to be a well-attended parade. A lot of interest in the Rose Bowl because of Indiana playing there this year. Mario Ramirez joining us there in Pasadena. Here, we've got some sunshine and actually a little bit of snow in the forecast. 2 of them, in fact, before the year is over. I'll give you the forecast coming up.
This show's all about home first and
Hey, welcome back. All of Chicago's New Year's Eve festivities bring huge crowds downtown each year.
But this year is going to be even bigger because our city is going to be part of a national broadcast. Roseanne has more on how the city is preparing. Hey, Roseanne.
Hey, the city is preparing for a giant party. The stage is set, and they're looking forward to a wonderful New Year's Eve here. Huge crowds are expected to gather all along Wacker Drive, right along the Riverwalk here. And local and federal law enforcement are working to make sure that it is going to be a safe event. Wacker Drive will be closed off from Franklin to Wells. While you can enter as early as 5 p.m., once you're in, you're in. No re-entry if you leave. Unlike Times Square, you will find porta potties and some other conveniences. And while there will be parties all over town, this will really be the main event.
Starting at 7 p.m., there will be a projection on Art on the Mart, curated by artist Nick Cave. That'll go till 9 p.m. Starting at 9 is our live music acts. We have DJ Mike P, DJ Mike Dunn, and then we're Jay Ivy, Shamika Copeland, and then Chance the Rapper's performance to finish out the night. At 11:50, there will be a drone show right here on the event space, and then the countdown on Art on the Mart to celebrate New Year's Eve, and then right at midnight, the fireworks on the bridges from Orleans Street all the way down to Columbus.
And this is a first that we're going to be in the national spotlight.
Yeah, we'll be on the national spotlight starting at 11 p.m. all the way until our countdown and fireworks at midnight.
Okay, remember, tell your kids if they're under 18, they cannot come here without an adult. But here's a great option. You can tune in to Fox 32 from your couch. How about that? You can join Anita and Jake for all the fun. They're going to be ushering the new year at Tao Chicago Nightclub. They have some special guests there, performances by Bun B, Cupid, Cleo Fox, and more. And again, you can join them right from your couch at Fox 32 or on Fox Local. Reporting from along the river this morning, Roseanne Tejas, Fox Chicago.
That's what I'm going to be doing. I will be watching Anita and Jake from Tao, and I might not be on the couch. It might be from bed already. Yeah, I could do that. I could do that. All right, we have a little bit of sunshine breaking through the cloud cover, but there is a storm system, technically two, on the way before the end of the year. So let's deal with it. Here's the headlines as we transition out of 2025 into 2026. It's going to be wintry going into the new year. Light snow arrives by this evening. I think an inch or less gets it done. Another light snow tomorrow afternoon. That also looks like an inch or less. Highs are going to be mainly in the 20s through New Year's Day. And then over the weekend, we'll get temperatures moving up a little bit. It's only 12 now. This is going to be a cold day. When I show you today's high, that will be happening at night. Bear that in mind. We have a west-southwest wind at 11, so we have a wind chill, what it feels like on your body parts that aren't covered, of 2 below. We've got a dozen at O'Hare, Midway, Joliet, DeKalb, Waukegan, and Valparaiso. And it's going to be a very, very slow warm-up today. Winds nowhere near as strong as yesterday, but we're still, 10 to 20 in some spots. Waukegan all morning long, it's kind of been in that 15 to 20 mile per hour wind range, and that's where we are now. These are the wind chills, pretty close to zero anywhere you are in Chicagoland. Feels like one above at Merrillville and also Morris. 3 below is the wind chill in McHenry County. So there's snow on the way. Not a lot. Almost all of it's coming in here pretty close to sundown. This is 4:30, and you see a little bit of snow creeping along the Cheddar Curtain. It overspreads more of Chicagoland. Notice the farther southwest you are, little to no snow expected for you, and nobody's getting much. During the day tomorrow, morning is going to be dry but chilly. And then during the afternoon, we get some snow again. This one might favor the exact opposite area that gets an inch or so of snow today. This would favor City and Point South. But once again, it's a quick hitter, up to an inch. Most of us are going to kind of be in that half-inch club before all is said and done. And on Thursday, New Year's Day, no precip, but it will be cold despite some sunshine. Today, 25. It's a cold day, increasing cloud cover, light snow coming in late. And then tonight, we will dial it down into the mid to upper 20s. We'll actually have temperatures rising. Maybe we can get to 30 tomorrow, but there will be snow in the afternoon. Low 20s Thursday, upper 20s Friday. I think we can get close to freezing on Saturday, mid-30s on Sunday. Good weather for the Bears-Lions game. And then my number for Monday is actually 40 degrees. If we don't get there, it's going to be mighty close. All right, got a couple of photos to share with you. How about that sky? Wow. Who is this one from? Do we have it? There we go. This is from Wendy Medcalf. That was in Oakwood Hills. You can see that is a beautiful sky. Almost looks unreal there. Good one, Wendy. Thanks for sending that one in. And our second, we had a picture of a couple of eagles earlier this morning. This one is from Tina, and this is at Whalen Lake, and you can see a bald eagle hanging out there. I love the reflection there. That is super cool. It is so good to see bald eagles staging a comeback really anywhere in the country, but definitely even in the Chicago area. We see them frequently now. Bryant, Gabriella?
All right, thank you, Mike.
Well, time is now 9:34 this morning. Transcripts from a closed-door hearing for the man accused of killing conservative activist Charlie Kirk have been released.
Yeah, Tyler Robinson appeared virtually from his Utah County jail cell. The October hearing focused on whether he should be shackled in court, with defense attorneys saying he posed no threat. His lawyers also asked to ban cameras, prompting media groups to push back. The judge released the transcripts, calling transparency foundational, and ordered notice to the press before any future hearings are closed.
Well, New Orleans is going to see a heavy security presence 1 year following that deadly attack on Bourbon Street. Last year, on New Year's Day, 14 people were killed in a terror attack when a 42-year-old man drove a rented pickup truck, drove around some roadblocks and right through a crowd. The stepped-up security will include National Guard troops deployed to the city by the Trump administration. Both the mayor and other city officials said that they welcomed the extra guard patrols.
It appears that we're going to have close to 800 law enforcement downtown and in the French Quarter, and I think that that's going to be outstanding. You're going to see an incredible visual presence in the French Quarter and throughout downtown over the rest of this week.
The National Guard will be in the city through Mardi Gras on Tuesday, February the 17th. Well, TMZ is reporting that singer David is likely to face murder charges in the death of Celeste Rivas Hernandez.
Yeah, the grand jury hearing the case is expected to decide on an indictment, and prosecutors believe David was involved in the teenager's death. TMZ reports the grand jury could continue hearing testimony into February. The 15-year-old's body was discovered in a Tesla at a tow yard over 3 months ago. The car was registered to the singer.
Well, a second actor who worked on a Tyler Perry movie is suing the filmmaker, accusing him of sexual assault. Mario Rodriguez is seeking $77 million in damages. He claims Perry used his power to make sexual advances towards him multiple times between the years 2016 and 2019. Rodriguez is also suing Lionsgate for allegedly turning a blind eye. A similar lawsuit was filed in June. Tyler Perry's team says that this is a, quote, money grab.
British boxing champion Anthony Joshua is recovering after being involved in a deadly car crash in Nigeria. Authorities say Joshua sustained minor bruising in the crash. 2 other occupants in the vehicle with him, including the driver, were killed. Joshua is a former world heavyweight champion.
More musicians have pulled out of performing at the renamed John F. Kennedy Center for the Performing Arts. The Art Center was rebranded this month after President Trump added his name to the building. A previously promoted Christmas Eve jazz concert by musician Chuck Red was canceled over the name change. The Cookers, a jazz band scheduled for New Year's Eve, did not specifically cite the name change, but a statement suggested politics was involved. Christy Lee, who was scheduled for January 14th, also canceled over the rebrand. Meantime, we are used to seeing photographers on the sidelines of Bears game, but one person we saw this weekend is used to being in the limelight herself. We're not sure if this is signaling a potential career change for Simone Biles or if she just tried to have pride in her husband and Bears player Jonathan Owens. This was from the Bears 49ers game last night at Levi's Stadium. Or 2 nights ago. She sure looked official with that vest, media vest, and was using a professional camera. The NFL posted saying it was just a little side gig.
I kind of want to see what pictures did she take.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, I can't wait to see her hopefully post them.
Yeah, maybe on her social media we can find some. All right, the Illinois State Fair is stepping into the future. They're going digital. Tickets for the 2026 fair in Springfield will now be available to purchase and download to your phone. The Illinois State Fair will be August 13th through 23rd, and tickets are already already on sale.
Get 'em fast.
If you want to think about summer, get yourself some fair tickets. All right, as for the grandstand performers, so far, only 2 names have been announced. Country music stars Lainey Wilson and Ella Langley.
Well, at 104 years old, Staff Sergeant Dominic Critelli is trending. The World War II veteran, as you just heard, performed the national anthem Saturday before the New York Islanders matchup against the New York Rangers. He's been playing since he was 14. Says his performance was dedicated to the fallen.
Oh, how sweet.
That was great.
All right, still ahead, we have a dating expert joining us in studio to talk about trends to keep in mind as we head into the new year. So stay close.
I'm Jonathan Lawson.
Welcome back. Getting back into the dating scene, maybe one of your resolutions for the new year. And here with some do's and don'ts of dating is Lisa Goodman, Vice President at Selective Search. Good morning to you. We're happy to have you back.
Thank you. Hey, top of the year. Always want to talk about dating.
Maybe you want to get back into it.
Correct.
I have to ask you, is online dating, is that still the way people are going, those apps and swiping?
I don't think we're ever going to see them disappear completely, but I will say things are trending towards taking a big break. There is real app fatigue out there, lots of swiping, lots of nonsense, lots of ghosting and texting for nothing. And so there's an exhaustion. So we're really seeing a little bit of trickling away from that. and hoping for real life connection.
So Lisa, I told you that yesterday we were talking about how Gen Z primarily, I guess, is asking their parents to like step into their dating and use those apps and kind of swipe for them because they say mommy knows best.
Right.
Do you think that's a good idea?
Playing a little Cyrano? This is a yes and no.
Okay.
Yes and no answer. It's twofold. And I think where it's coming from is the documentary on Taylor Swift, and guess who got involved with her love connection?
Okay.
Yes, Mama Swift did. So, can it work? Absolutely. Do parents know you well? Absolutely. But handing over your profile and letting them do the swiping, not so sure about that.
Okay, dating in general, what are some of the biggest green flags that you should look for in 2026?
The greenest of all, chemistry. Always the top of the list, right? Can't get any greener than that. Without that initial chemistry, there's just not going to be that second and third date. So be on the lookout. You know when there's chemistry. Second, consistency. So that's really a new trend. People want real consistency and intent in the person that they're seeing. Do they show up physically and emotionally? Also, speaking of emotional intelligence and emotional availability and maturity. No players. We're done playing games. Everyone's tired and too old for that. So think about it. Chemistry first, consistency, and just being emotionally there.
Maybe something I've heard on social media, you know, just with scrolling and stuff. I'm happily married, but, you know, people seem to be setting their expectations sooner, which I think is so healthy, and that's probably about emotional intelligence.
Sure.
But would you say, is that one of the first steps?
Yeah, and that's new. That's a newer trend over the last year or two. And it even has a term, clear coding. And it basically means sharing your intents. There's nothing wrong with that. Now, you're not going to show up on a first date and say, well, my goal is 5 kids in the next 5 years. That's a surefire way to end that relationship. But it is absolutely acceptable to state your goals and to say, you know, is marriage something that you're looking for? Kids, how about relocating, new job, going back to school? All of these things should be talked about sooner than later. You don't want to waste your time 6 months in.
You're right. Putting it out there, right?
Right,
yeah, setting those
right.
expectations. I think that's a good thing.
Being realistic.
I want to learn about selective search. You know, what do you all do there?
Yeah, selective search matchmaking. Well, it's fun. We're headquartered right here in Chicago, but it is a global firm. So we help people all around the world find the love of their lives. And talk about trends. People are getting away from the apps, but they're leaning towards matchmaking, which, hey, I'm all for it. So matchmakers step in, we do the vetting for you. And it really cuts to the chase. We're only letting you spend your valuable time with people that we see you with potentially forever.
Lisa, I love those matchmaking shows.
Yeah.
Can you make one Chicago-based? I think that would be really entertaining.
Sure.
Overall, for people who are maybe just getting started into dating, or 2026 is, you know, the start of what's been a long journey for them, what's your biggest piece of advice?
Biggest piece of advice is just say yes. Put yourself out there. You are not going to meet the love of your life if you're sitting at home alone watching TV, right? You've got to make yourself available and just see what happens. Say yes to that philanthropic event or that happy hour or brunch that maybe you would have said no to. Trust me, we all know, especially in Chicago, it's freezing cold out there, and you'd rather stay in than go out. But you have to put yourself out there and get friends and family involved. You mentioned parents and moms. People are really wanting their friends and family to introduce them to potentially somebody great.
I've also seen more people maybe, you know, when they're out with their family and friends, like approach that person. Whereas usually that's a space where you're like, I don't want to touch that because I'm with other people. But it's okay to ask for a number.
It's okay to ask, sure. Absolutely. What's the worst that can happen?
Exactly.
You gotta
okay,
take
Lisa,
the shot.
Yeah, you're right. Lisa, thank you so much for joining
You're
us.
welcome.
We appreciate your time.
Always
we'll have
here
you
for
later on in 2026 because hopefully it continues on. You find some luck. All right, we'll be right back with more Good Day Chicago right after this break.
Are you struggling?
We always love it when he does these lists. Earlier this morning, Jake kicked off his list of his top 10 favorite movies of 2025, and now he's here with the best of the best.
Yeah, so we've been breaking it down, obviously, hour by hour, and if you missed any of the previous hours, you can go find me on Instagram at Jake's Takes or fox32chicago.com. But for right now, we're going to talk about the ones that matter, the ones that really reminded me of why I love sitting in dark theaters with strangers, getting lost in a story. My top 10 favorite movies of 2025. Picking up the list at number 4.
What the hell going on? Oh, we heard tale of a party. This world already left you for dead. I can save you from your fate.
You don't need no saving.
Yes, you do. And you are? I am. Your way out. Don't cry. It's all better now.
Coming in number 4, Sinners, a perfect example of how the horror genre can be one of our sharpest social tools. Beneath all the vampire terror, Sinners uses the genre not just to scare, but to shine a light, no pun intended, on our world, turning fear into a lens on race and power and survival in modern society. Every unsettling moment has a purpose. It's horror that lingers because it is rooted in our world. Sinners is now streaming on HBO Max.
We're talking about 17 kids in one classroom. I want to know what happened in that classroom. Why just her classroom? Why only her?
They're our children. I love those kids.
This is a true story that happened right here in my town. A lot of people die in a lot of really weird ways in this story, but you're not going to find it in the news.
Those kids walked out of those homes. No.
At number 3, Weapons. Movies that ask big questions, like, for instance, why did all the kids in one classroom get up in the middle of the night, spread their arms, and run away? Only work if the answer is satisfying. And with Weapons, the big answer is kind of an all-time classic. Instead of collapsing under the weight of its big mystery, the reveal elevates the story into the upper tiers of horror films, giving us a final act that will be talked about for years and could be on its way to actually a pretty cool Oscar win. Weapons, now streaming on HBO Max.
The universe is large. And it contains multitudes, but it also contains me.
Coming in at number 2, The Life of Chuck, a little talked about, highly underappreciated Stephen King adaptation. The Life of Chuck is quite simply a beautiful film about a less than extraordinary life. It's not about a life that's particularly special or noteworthy. It's a love letter to a man who just lived a normal existence and why there's nothing wrong with that. The Life of Chuck is a quiet miracle of a movie. Instead of asking you what your life added up to, it asks you, what did your life mean? It is a truly beautiful masterpiece I hope more people discover in the years to come. The Life of Chuck, now available on video on demand.
I wanted to protect you from all your mom's stuff, and all my stuff, even though I know that's impossible.
This is the end of the line. Not for you.
Coming in at number 1, my favorite film of 2025, One Battle After Another. This movie feels like a great American epic in the truest sense. It is vast in scope, it's intimate in emotion, and it is wildly funny and also deeply aware of the country it's reflecting. But what makes it special is how timeless it feels. This movie could have been released in either 2025 or 1975. Writer-director Paul Thomas Anderson has created kind of an old-school giant of American cinema that manages to thrill and think all at the same time. It's sweeping without being sentimental. It's urgent without being preachy, and powerful because it understands that America is not defined by a single victory, but the battles that we keep on fighting. One Battle After Another, streaming now on HBO Max.
That was well written by you.
Oh, thank you, man. I appreciate you. Thank you. My top 10 favorite movies of 2025. Agree or disagree? Not everyone's going to agree with these. Let me know. Follow me on Instagram at Jake's Takes. Let me know your favorites of the year. I always say, these aren't the top 10 best movies. It's subjective. That's what I love about movies. 300 people can sit in a theater, stare the same direction, see the same thing, and 300 people will see 300 different things.
Was that Sean Penn?
That was Sean Penn, likely potentially to be 3-time Oscar winner.
Wow.
That's going to be a massive Oscar contender in the weeks.
And then in that Stephen King adaptation is the great meteorologist.
Yes, Tom Hiddleston. Yeah. You guys missed.
Yeah.
He took over Mike's job when he was in studio.
He had done an interview, and on his way out, I said, "Hey, you want to do the weather?"
Yeah.
And at first he was like, "Yeah." So he came in there and he did it, as Thor.
Yeah,
so,
as Loki.
As Loki.
Because he talked about, he said, "My brother Thor is." He like channeled his. It was actually kind of awesome. It was really cool.
Post that.
I got it.
All right, let's send it up to Studio 32. Chicago now is.
Look how handsome he is. Look at him.
Well, he got a haircut yesterday.
Come on.
Yeah,
he got several hairs cut.
Keep your shirt on today, Anthony.
Oh, we can't hear you, Anthony.
The sound of his good looks overtakes.
Yeah, the smile
permeates the
air. When you look like that, you don't need a microphone that works.
All right.
I hope it's not.
Hey, we got you, baby.
Yes. Thank you all. We have an exciting hour of Chicago Now coming up. We are going to hear from a lawyer. He is going to run us through. There's a lot of new laws taking effect in 2026, and a lot of them have to do with health care. So we're going to run through that list, what is at stake here, what parents need to know, and perhaps a new vaccination schedule. Also, unfortunately, a lot of folks are reporting drama with the in-laws over the holidays. Now that you've perhaps survived the Christmas holiday, we are going to talk with an expert about how to handle the in-laws and go over all the top entertainment headlines with our friends over at TMZ. We'll be right back.
Your go-to source for
All right, our questions are answered. Here are those photos that
one.
Simone Biles took during the Bears' 40